special meeting of the Northfield Township Board to order. Please stand for the sit for the invocation and pledge.
Your Heavenly Father, may thy grace provide an awe-inspired introspection into that mystery that breathes life into all living things, and add unto us an ever-expanding foundation of gratitude. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Please call the roll, Clerk Manley.
Dockett.
Here.
Zelenak.
Present.
Bellinger.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Chalkley.
Here.
Manley here. And Chick is absent.
Okay. Okay, now we have an opportunity for call to the public. So if any members of the public would like to speak at this time, please raise your hand or press *9 if you're on a phone. Otherwise, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. State your name, your address, and then please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And this is not an opportunity for dialogue or questions and answers, but please feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you. Do I have anyone in the attendees who would like to speak to the board at this time? I don't see any hands raised, so we will move on. We won't need any board member response. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the balance of the agenda.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Otto. And I guess we'll need a roll call since we always need roll calls.
Well, discussion, right? Just
Yeah, okay, discussion, go ahead.
I just want to ensure that we have to do this in closed session from our attorney, that it's in the best interest of the township.
But I think you have to approve the agenda first and then go in closed session.
I understand that, right? So before I approve the agenda, right?
Oh, she just has a quick question, and go ahead, Mr. Fink.
It's my recommendation you go into closed session. You don't have to, but depending on what the board's discussion is, it could be detrimental to have this discussion in public.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion to adopt the balance of the agenda as distributed. Roll call vote, please. Ms. Manley.
Otto.
Yes.
Dockett.
Yes.
Zelenak.
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chalkley.
Yes.
Bellinger.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes 6-0.
And just so everyone knows, Janet is trying to get in, but she's having a hard time.
Okay.
She got a new computer and she has to upload Zoom on it.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully she'll be in a minute. I would like to make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268(8)E to consult with the attorney regarding a trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation. The Bank of New York Mellon versus Northfield Township, case number 19891CH, concerning an easement through a township-owned parcel along the railroad.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Bellinger. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
I'd like to know what's happening. On my packet, there was no letter, no on my packet. I couldn't get in. I mean, there was no cover letter with the numbers on it. All I had is the one that says the 7 o'clock meeting. Is this meeting legal?
Yeah, Mr. Dockett, there, it should say at the top of your agenda, a 6:30 special meeting, at the top of the original first page of your agenda. And then attached to that are all the documents that go along with the special meeting. So right in back of it, there is a memo from Mr. Fink to the board members.
The one that I have for the Zoom, it says that this is for the August 25th board meeting, U.S. or Canada time, Eastern Standard Time, for the 7 o'clock meeting.
Okay. I know that Ms. Carlisle can explain that to you, Mr. Dockett, but she prints off a special page just for you, in addition to the rest of the packet. And I put the packet together.
Sorry, it originally said 7 o'clock. We have one login for both meetings. So this login is for the 6:30 meeting and the 7 o'clock meeting. So that you didn't have to log out and log back in.
That's fine, but that's not what the packet says.
Mr. Dockett, your board agenda should say 6:30 special meeting right under August 25th, 2020.
I'm looking at the Zoom to get into the meeting.
Okay, you're already in. Let's move on
I
to
know,
the
but I
agenda.
thought there was...
There's nothing different.
Well, it doesn't say that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I was confused. I did. I mean, it should say that it's for the 6:30 meeting and the 7, instead of it saying that it's for the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time meeting. That's what my packet says.
Okay.
So that's why I wasn't in.
Yep, Mr. Dockett, I sent an email today, and I believe Steve dropped your emails off this afternoon, and in that email, it clarified that this was for the 6:30 and the 7 o'clock meeting. It was the same ID for both.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a roll call now and move into closed session.
Manley, yes. Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Dockett,
No.
Chick,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chockley.
Yes,
So 6-1.
6-1. Thank you, that passes 6-1. Okay, now we need to go into closed session. So have you figured out how that's going to work?
So to the attendees that are currently logged in, we are temporarily going to remove you from the meeting so that the board members can go into closed session. And then you can rejoin us. Mr. Fink, how long do you think it will take? We don't know.
It's
10 minutes? Okay. You can rejoin in about 10 minutes, and then we will add you back in as attendees. Mr. Fink, do I need to continue recording during the closed session, or am I pausing the recording? Probably pausing it, right?
as long as Ms. Lemble is taking minutes, you don't necessarily need to record the closed
Okay.
session.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to pause the recording.
Granting,
I move that we return to open session.
okay, we have a motion by Bellinger and support by, who?
I'll support.
Okay, Manley. And can we do all in favor?
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you say aye, Mr. Dockett?
I'm here and I want to say that you are a hateful person. I have pushed *9 25 times. You will not let me talk. You think I'm sitting here and everybody talked about this, but me.
Mr.
Because
Dockett,
you won't recognize me.
Mr. Dockett, you're not muted. You're not muted, so I'm sorry if I've missed your hand again. Go ahead.
You
Mr.
will not answer my questions. You will not let me in to ask a question. Why
ahead.
am I in this meeting?
Go ahead, Mr. Dockett. What's your question?
Well, I have a lot to say about this house. Okay?
Go ahead.
First of all, Lenore asked a question about how this happened. What happened was the bank foreclosed on the house. They didn't know about the 4 lots. So the bank took care of the taxes on the house. They lost the 4 lots to the county. The county sold the 4 lots to the township. You cannot landlock the house. Walt Gregg, his brother, owned it. Walt Gregg was the lawyer in town. He was the one that drew up the contract for the right-of-way. And our lawyer now, I read his letter, and it's word for word the way Walt Gregg signed it and made it possible for that. So all what our lawyer did was copy what was done 25 years ago. So, but we can't stop people from going back to their house. So, but what I want to know is why don't you answer me? Why don't you include me into the conversation? That's what I want to know.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Dockett, I didn't see your little hand over in the corner.
Oh, you didn't see. I pushed it 25 times.
Okay,
You
it only
do that-
pops up
you
once.
You do that kind of stuff to me, and I'm frustrated on it, and I'm not going to sit through these meetings if you're not going to recognize me like you do everybody else. Don't you think it was odd that everybody else talked about this but me?
Okay, I'll ask
Don't you
you
find
first.
that odd?
Mr. Dockett, I'll ask you first next time. Okay,
That's a good plan. We'll just ask Mr.
we'll just
Dockett.
ask Mr. Dockett first. Okay,
Yes. I like that. I think that.
okay.
No, just ask me when I push *9. Include me in to the conversation.
Okay, if somebody sees Mr. Dockett's hand up and it's an appropriate time to ask him to speak, please let me know, because I do miss it.
Does
Okay.
other people know? Can other people see me pushing *9, or are you the only one that can see that?
I don't know. I think everybody can. No?
I did not notice at all that he raised his hand.
I don't usually have the participants up.
Okay. But you could see him, though, if it was up, right?
You could see him. I don't think you can see him raise it. Hey, Mr. Dockett, what is
If
it?
we have it open.
9.
Excuse me?
Push *9 and let everybody else see if they can see you. Yes.
Okay, now I see it.
Does everybody see Mr. Dockett's hand up?
But you have to have the participant up in order to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't typically do that, but maybe I'll start doing that to
Okay.
help.
Yes, if that would help, that would be great.
Did other people see it?
Yes.
Well,
You only see it if you're looking for it. If you're not looking for it, you don't see it.
Right. It doesn't hit you in the face, Mr. Dockett. I guess that's what I need. Okay. Can we move on? Can we move on, please?
something fishy going on here.
Can we move on, please? Okay, let's take the roll call here. I guess we'll do a roll call. You go back into open session.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Shockley,
Yes.
Dockett.
With regrets, yes.
So 7-0.
Okay. I'm gonna put your hand down, Mr. Dockett. Okay, we can go back and let all the attendees in now, Jennifer. Okay.
They would have to call back in.
Who would?
The attendees.
Right.
They would have to call back in to get put back in.
Right, but
Know that?
we
I
have,
can't just allow people in because they're no longer there.
right, okay, but we do have quite a few
Yeah.
people there.
Yeah, there's a few, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will make a motion to approve the proposed stipulated order granting easement to 9003 Main Street, parcel number 0205329-001, through parcel B, parcel B0205329003, contingent on payment of $3,000.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Bellinger. Do we have any more discussion? Mr. Dockett,
Yes.
what's your discussion?
What's that?
Do you have a discussion on this item now that we're going to vote on it?
You voted on giving the easement?
Yes.
Well, that's correct. We have to give the easement. We cannot landlock the house.
Okay, then you're going to vote yes, correct?
I'm going to vote yes.
Okay. So we have
We
a
have no
motion.
choice.
Okay, we have a motion, and we're going to vote now. Ms. Manley, call the roll.
Docket,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chocolate,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Bellinger,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. That passed 7-0, Mr. Dockett. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the second call to the public. Do we have any members of the public who are on? Please raise your hand. Press star 9 if you're on by telephone, or raise your hand if you're on your computer. If you would like to address the board at this time, please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. This is not a time for dialogue or questions and answers. Please state your name and your address, please. Do we have anyone who would like to speak at this second call to the public for our special meeting?
People I hear are having difficulty getting into the webinar right now. Are people being let in?
We have 9 attendees. Of course, 2 of them are
Okay.
Ms. Lumble and Mr. Dockett. Mr. Nelson's
What's
not
that?
back. Mr. Nelson's not back on yet. Oh, okay, we have someone here who has raised their hand. And their phone number ends in 121.
You'll need to press star 6 to unmute.
Okay, we can't do it. I thought we could do that. There we go.
It's
All right.
not letting me. I'm not sure why.
Okay, there we
Hey,
go.
Hello, can
Hello.
everybody hear me? Hi, this
Yeah.
is Dave with a3environmental.com for
Hello.
agenda item number 6. I'm also having trouble logging in online. It keeps saying that my registration's been declined, but I'm happy just to do this over the phone too if I can't get in.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
no problem.
We're not in our regular meeting yet, though, Mr. McCoy, so
Oh, we're not? What time does that start? I saw a 7 o'clock link. I'm
Well,
probably in too early then.
we've had a special meeting that ran over, so right now we're in the finishing up the special meeting.
Okay. I can call back in 15 minutes or so? Does that work for you guys?
I can't imagine us being ready in 15 minutes, so
Yeah.
how about 7:45 or 8 o'clock?
Why can't he
I can
speak
call you.
now?
I'm in Chicago on Central Time. I'll be more than happy to call you at 8. That's fine. No problem.
Oh, okay. 8
All
our
right.
time.
Yes, so I
Okay.
got it. I'll call you at 7 my time. We got it. We're good. I'll see you
Okay.
then.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this time? Okay, I'm seeing no one. Okay. Board member comments, anybody dying for that?
Well,
Okay.
I think we need to get resolved that people are not able to log in online.
How many are you aware of that can't?
The gentleman that just left and Dave made his comment that he was not able to, so he did the phone, I believe.
Did the phone, right?
Well, I believe there's an issue out there right now. That's all I'm
Is that
saying.
because we're still in closed session that he was denied? Do we know?
I don't think we have any, my understanding, Ms. Bellinger, is there's no difference between us being in closed session and open session right now, other than
Right,
kick them off, so.
right.
It would be nice to go back to real meetings, real physical meetings.
Talk to your governor.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else.
So my suggestion for anybody that's not able to log in on their computer would be to call in.
Well, but they can't hear you. So if we're getting texts from anybody going they can't get in,
I mean, it seems like we have another issue. This should not be happening. I'm sorry.
Well, I can let you know that Zoom did
Oh, I
have
agree.
issues today. We got notification through work that Zoom did have issues today. So
Okay.
sometimes
Maybe it's the
they're
Zoom
beyond
issue,
our control.
but I still don't know how you have a public meeting when you just say, well, people that normally get in a certain way can't get in. And then we say, well, try a different way. But again, I have,
We do give them all the accesses to get in, both phone and the link. So
right,
it is available to them.
okay. All right, I will make a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
Marlene, there's two people with their hands up. I don't know if you want to take those.
Oh, they just did, okay.
Well, we do have a problem. Apparently the host is rejecting, how do you say that? Declining the registration, so people cannot get in, evidently, right now.
I had to remove people that were logging in during the closed session, so I don't know if that is the issue or not.
Well, they're trying to log in now anew, and they're not able to.
Yeah, I was just told that somebody's trying to use the phone also and they're not able to log in.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just if I could make a practical suggestion, and that is that the board adjourn this special meeting and then wait about 10 minutes to see if people can get in and make your decision about your regular meeting.
gosh. Okay, I mean, what if we all left and started over?
I think that might be a good plan as well. Adjourn, and then we all leave and I'll start over.
You'll have Ms. Carlisle end the meeting and then reopen it?
Right. Do you think that would do it?
It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can restart a meeting after it ends.
Oh, because the number will change, right?
Possibly. Yeah.
How about she stays on and we all log off then?
I don't think that'll make a difference.
That won't make a difference.
Well, then, if we can't get on, then we know the answer. There is no meeting.
Well, I'll get off. And if I can't get back on,
I think you can still log into the same meeting number.
that has happened, yeah.
Yeah, because I have used that before where we have logged off and logged back on.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm seeing Rob Munger back on here, and he was taken off, and Martin Smith is on, and they were taken off as we went into the closed session, and they're able to get back on. So,
Yeah, LJ Walters also was,
right,
I had to move him off and he's back.
he's back.
Matt Ritz
Right.
is back. Or he was back for a second there. So Adam only has his hand up. I don't know if you want to let him speak now.
Well, it's time for the second call to the public, really, so I would let him speak if everyone, yes. Oops, he's muted himself, or somebody has. Okay,
Hello?
go ahead, Mr. Olney.
Yes, I'm only 9315 Lakewood Court. I believe the issue is when people were booted out, you have to log in with a name and an email. And when people were booted out because it was still under closed session, when they tried to come back in later, that email is associated with being kicked out. So I had to go under a different email. So I don't know how you can fix that or whatever, but I have multiple emails. Most people have multiple emails. I was able to log back in instantly with a different email and got kicked out again. So then I waited a little bit and logged in with another email a couple minutes later, and that's what I'm in now, under a third email. So I don't know if you can clear the kicked out history or the booted history, but I believe that's part of the problem is once you're kicked out of a meeting under a certain email address, then you're permanently kicked out of the meeting. So
Okay,
I look forward to the rest of the regular meeting. Thank you.
okay, thank you. All right,
I had a confirmation that what Adam said appears to be true. If you log in with a different email, you are able to attend. The
Okay.
original email, apparently you are kicked out, just as Adam said.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Olney, for your comments. Our board member comments completed. Mr. Dockett, did you have anything you'd like to say at this time?
No, I'm completely confused. I don't know what's happening now.
Okay, we're about to adjourn the special meeting to go into the regular
Well,
meeting.
yeah, I understand that. I don't know what the holdup is.
Okay. We were having some technical difficulties. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
I'll support.
And support by Ms. Chick. Okay, roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, if everybody's all set, we'll move right into the regular meeting. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Northfield Township Board to order. This is August 25th. And please stand for the invocation and pledge again. Ms. Bellinger, would you like to offer that?
Dear Heavenly Father, may thy grace provide an awe-inspired introspection into that mystery that breathes life into all living things, and add unto us an ever-expanding foundation of gratitude. And dear God, may we lead a quiet and peaceful life, godly and respectful in every way. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
United
of the
States
United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
stands
One
one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh,
Thank you. Please call the roll, Clerk Manley.
Dockett,
Here.
Chick,
Here.
Otto,
Here.
Bellinger,
here.
Zelenak,
Present.
Manley, here. Chockley,
Here.
all here.
Thank you. Now we have an opportunity for call to the public again. So if anyone would like to speak at this time to address the board, 3 minutes or less, and please state your name and your address. And this is not an opportunity for Q&A or dialogue. So we have Mr. Stewart has his hand up.
R6 he needs, maybe?
I guess so. Star 6, Mr. Stewart.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi there. Are
Hi.
you able to, am I there?
Yes, I can see you now.
Oh, okay. I'm shaking my head because I had a few representatives from the Motor City Mountain Biking Association and Michigan Mountain Biking Association that were going to chime in tonight and listen, and they've gotten back to me on email, and they said get a hold of us at a later point or something. So I'm rather, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Last week, I was inspired by Trustee Chick's comments that I believe she said over 16 years they've been trying to build trails or connect trails, and they'll take any help that they can get. And I've been working on this all summer long, trying to get a hold of these representatives, and it just kind of stinks right now that they're probably not listening. I guess the other thing I was going to say is that, I stand by my email I sent. The North Village concept, right along next to it, we need to have a Northfield Township Park recreational appraisal, including such items as what type of revenue may come from leaving the park recreational versus developing it. And the other thing I was going to say is that the trail that's included on the North Village Park, it's not going to pull anybody in. It's a small trail. People that are up there at the M36 connector, they're not going to say let's bike down Lemon to go ride the North Village trail, because what you guys have designed, it's basically like an intro trail for a rollerblader. It's going to be for the people that have homes there, but it's not a destination. The Zoom meeting the other day, we're talking about cannabis companies coming in and making this a destination. A couple years back, we had a sunflower field. We were a destination for like 10 days. We started handing out citations to people for trespassing. But the thing is Whitmore Lake is a destination point, whether it's a sunflower field, cannabis, or mountain biking trails. So I guess I will try and reach out to the mountain biking associations again, and hopefully they can connect. But also, you guys are elected officials, and it's very easy to get in contact with these folks. It should not be my job as a citizen. It should be your job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stewart. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this point? Not seeing any hands up. Oh, here we go. Ms. President?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, it's Marissa President, 32 Shrum Drive. Just two kind of quick things today. The first thing is that I would like to ask the board to add to the agenda this evening, at a minimum, a discussion about the request I made on behalf of the Land Preservation Committee via email on July 31st and again on August 10th and directly to the board at the last meeting to allow the committee to open a social media site. It's a pretty simple request, so an email reply would suffice to whatever it takes to get that going and make that happen. Next, I see that the website's on the agenda, and I'm really excited to see that something is moving forward with that. The feedback that I had for the board today was a suggestion on, I've watched this board, and I really think that you're trying to be transparent and you're trying to make things clear. And I think that something that would be really useful right now is a fact sheet or a timeline or both about where we've been with the marijuana businesses, where we're going with it, what the process is, because there certainly is a lot of misinformation out there. And the citizens don't really seem to know what's going on. So I know what's going on, so I kind of take it for granted. So I went and tried to search our website today, and I couldn't find, I know at one point Mr. Lippens prepared kind of what I'm talking about, a document of that sort, but I wasn't able to find it. So I'm hopefully when the website improvements happen, we can kind of streamline, maybe make categories, like here's the stuff about cannabis businesses, and here's the stuff about the wastewater treatment plant, so that when people are trying to stay informed, they're not having to run through, hundreds of pages of meeting packets.
Okay.
So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's see. We have Mr. Gordon. Mr. Gordon. I guess I need to promote you to panelist to get you to speak. Go ahead. Mr. Gordon, go ahead. Mr. Gordon? I don't know why he's not able to speak. Okay. There. Can you increase your sound? I think you have a bad connection, Mr. Gordon. Oh, shoot. Ms. Carlisle, do you know what to do with this?
I do not.
I promoted him to panelist so he could speak, but okay, well, how do we, now what do we do? If I hit remove, will it knock him out of the whole thing?
I believe so.
Oh, that's not a good thing. How did you get Ms. Prisgant back in the list?
She was
Prisgant.
not promoted as a panelist. She was just allowed to speak.
Oh. Well, I can stop his video, and maybe he can raise his hand again. Work on your computer, Mr. Gordon. I think that might be the problem. Okay. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this time? For call to the public? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. Okay. Now we have board member response to call to the public. Do we have any board members who would like to respond in any way to any of the public who spoke? Ms. Bellinger?
Scott Stewart mentioned some kind of an appraisal. What did he say, like a recreational appraisal? Is that regarding the 23 acres could be appraised at a different value if it was retained as a park only? Is that what he's referring to? And do we need something of that matter? I don't know. He has some ideas about reaching out to these different associations that might want to do something with the property until, or if in the event that we do some other activities with it, with this mountain biking or biking, maybe there's some grants or some organizations that might want to be involved in doing something and bringing some people into the area. But in the meantime, while the township board's deciding what and if we will do what with the property. So I want to thank him for those points, and I wonder if perhaps we should consider getting a recreational appraisal. You might want to ask the manager to look into something of that nature or about that.
Any other board members? Ms. Zelnok?
Well, I still am unsure about continuing this meeting because if you have to know that you have to have 2 IDs to get in because you were kicked out. So do we have a list of everybody that was initially in and are they back in? That's my question.
The people that were originally in, Scott
Yes,
Stewart returned, LJ Walters returned, Rob Munger returned, and Brad Opfer, and Adam Only.
So they
And
all
so
got
did Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa is back in. Yeah,
And I do have another person that reached out to me
that couldn't get in?
that couldn't get in, and I gave him an update, so.
Okay, and is he able to get in now?
I have not seen him yet.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, it's technical difficulties. I see some growing pains. I also think when we start something new, such as having a closed session with an open session, we need to practice. And, you know, have a meeting, get a couple of us together and see if it works, how it is going to work. I don't think real time is a good time to be practicing.
Yep.
And I know it's new, but I think we need to have a better plan. And so I am uncomfortable continuing because, again, I don't know who is trying to get in, couldn't get in. Obviously, Mr. Gordon, you may say it's his computer. I don't know. He's attended many Zoom meetings, and this is the
Well,
first time.
he's still on. He's in.
Yeah. So.
And
He's in.
you can't control somebody's computer from their home.
Just said, do we know
If
that?
that's the case.
But do we know that?
Yeah.
Like I said, he's attended every meeting.
You
that
know,
we've had.
Lenore, we don't know if anybody has computer problems.
I know that, Ms. Otto.
Okay.
Apparently Wayne Dockett would like to speak, perhaps.
So I think I have the floor, Ms. Bellinger. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Selma.
So, and I would like to thank Scott Stewart for his comments.
Mhm.
I think where is an appropriate, how, who follows up on that now? Is like something we give the Park and Rec to make sure they follow up. Is that I would like them to follow up with Mr. Stewart's comments. So I'm not sure how that approach is.
Well,
And how we assign that to them and ask them to do that. If we need a motion, we can do it. Or Ms. Bellinger, you could take that back. And I do think, website, it should be very easy to find our major projects, sewer base and marijuana. It shouldn't be a hunt and peck and search and find. And I know we are moving to a different website potentially, but that is something that should always be front and center. What do you think the public wants? Sewer basin, marijuana, and other, probably North Village for sure. I think those are our three hot items. So those I think are my comments. So.
Okay. Ms. Chick. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Otto. You did have your hand up first, but.
And don't forget about Mr. Doc.
You can let Janet speak, or Docket, either one.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dockett, do you have anything?
No, but what's happening? Are we gonna continue with this meeting?
Well, so far, we're just responding to the call to the public.
Well, I thought they couldn't get in.
Well, there's a lot of them in. People do have technical difficulty on occasion. I don't know what to say about that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, are you finished?
I'm frustrated.
Yep. Are you finished, Mr. Dockett?
I just said it's frustrating.
Yep. Okay, Ms. Chick?
On the issue of the land preservation request to start up a Facebook page, I know that we received an email today saying that we needed to establish policy. I'm in favor of the land preservation having a Facebook page. Or are we going to wait until we have established a policy? And if we need to set up a target date for that so that people aren't kind of waiting out there in limbo, the organizations that want to have a Facebook page. But we also have to get our website issue decided as well. So I think that kind of all going to go together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ms. Otto?
So to speak on the Facebook page, I do think that we need not only do we need a Facebook page for the land preservation, but this speaks to a broader communication plan that we need for the township. Right now with policies, the way that we do them, we don't have any record keeping of our policies. So a board that has been in existence 8 years ago that made a policy, the board doesn't, and the board doesn't know about those policies today. We've experienced that several times in the past year in regards to that. So unless we put it in a resolution, because we are required by statute to keep resolutions, policies just seem to come and go. What I recommend is that we establish a communication plan. And by these plans, they're updated, they're fluid, they're constantly address criteria and what each can do. Because we don't have a huge amount of time to get a communication plan out, I just recommend that the committee give us an outline of what they want to do with the Facebook page, and bring it, and we have it on the agenda for the next meeting, and then we vote on it. And then if we ever get to a communication plan, either this board or the new board gets to one, and they can incorporate all social media involved. And then for the trails, Scott, I appreciate you bringing the names of these individual groups and associations to our attention. Really appreciate it. I do also believe that it should go under the Parks and Rec. And that, Scott, I know that you put a lot of time, your heart's in it and everything. While Janet said we've been doing it for 16, we've been talking about this for 16 years. A lot of our surrounding communities have also been talking about it for as long as we have. And now they have just started doing plans. And that's when the connecting can only happen, is when our fellow communities are starting to work on their plans. So now that we have Hamburg, now we have South Lyons, we do know where these connecting paths could go, and we do have now a foundation of which to start connecting paths. So your timing is great, but I would recommend, if you want to participate in this, is that you ask to be involved in the Parks and Rec Committee.
Okay. Thank you. Other board members?
And I just wanted to add the person did join.
Okay. I personally don't think the North Village site is the correct location for a mountain bike path. Yes, a non-motorized path to our MDOT lot, and connections to the path on Lehman. I think all that would be terrific. But mountain biking paths are a little bit different, and that is a Parks and Rec issue. But I don't think it's the North Village. It shouldn't necessarily be located on the North Village. That's my opinion. As far as the Facebook page goes, I did like your suggestion, Miss Otto. And I know the DDA and the Community Garden have Facebook pages, and I don't think anybody asked about that. So we do need to monitor content, and I like the idea of having a plan. So we should have a book of our actual efforts in the office so that it can be referred to, but we don't have that right now. So it's something for the next board, I guess, to do. All right, that's it. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda as distributed.
I'll support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by, who was that? Ms. Chick? Chick, okay. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? Mr. Dockett, you have anything? Mr. Dockett?
Yes, what?
Do you have anything that you wanted to pull out on the consent agenda?
No.
Okay, thank you.
On the consent agenda, no.
Okay, Ms. Chick?
Yeah, I have a question about the manager report.
Okay.
Okay,
go ahead. No, go ahead and ask it.
Okay, under the insurance coverage for Northfield Township, there's a paragraph about, policy. People might not like what the insurance company decision is, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of vague to me, so what is this referring to? I don't understand why it's in here when it's not addressing an issue.
Well, if I could speak to that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There were questions and comments made at the last meeting about a specific case. We're not at liberty to talk about specific cases, but I was trying to educate the public that similar to what an individual has with a car insurance, if you agree to have them cover you, the insurance company ultimately can make the decision as to what to settle. I've had that happen in my family situation. In the case of the township insurance, it's the same type of thing. The insurance company tells you what the coverage is that they're providing. You agree to pay for the premiums. But then when it gets to the point where it gets into potential litigation, the insurance company agrees to defend you, provide the attorney, that they will, if they lose, they will pay whatever is appropriate under their policy. But if you choose not to agree with what approach they're taking, then you're giving up a lot of that coverage, and you're setting a precedent for future actions. So, in this case, I was referring to the general one on the immunity you have for sewer backups versus paying out a sewer backup, and there were a lot of things that the board had to consider on the issue, and one of those being that the insurance company felt there was no liability, and the insurance company said they would pay the legal expenses to defend you, and then if they were to lose, they would have a responsibility to pay for whatever amounts involved with that.
Okay. Did that answer your question, Ms. Chick?
It answers the question. I just don't understand why it's on here. To me, that would have been a comment at the time that the issue came up at the last meeting. It's nothing that none of us don't know already about insurance companies. That doesn't always mean right. So that's just my question. I was trying to figure out why it was on here. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
I have a question, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Zellner.
I seem to have lost my picture. But anyway, so I'd like to talk about North Village. I see that we included, if I recall, we had a different email that had it more specific by different elements. Do I recall that correctly? Because right here, basically, we're saying that 4 acres, including the portion of parcel 00, which has frontage on Whitmore Lake, assumed to be retained by the township for development of a community park, and that the 17.256 acres is for development, with a total price. If I go to the last page, which is page 3, it says $850,000. So is that for the 17 plus acres?
Mr. Ains?
Yes. If you recall, when the board asked me to get some information from the assessor, at that time, back around about December or so, he was estimating that the value of the property was around $40,000 to $50,000 an acre for the property. Now you had me getting into the in-depth formal appraisal, and if you take that $850 and divide it out, it's about $50,000 an acre. And so my point is, he's going on certain assumptions by what he had available to him from the different proposals. But when you look at it and you're negotiating with a developer, if you decrease the amount of acreage, then you're decreasing the amount of purchase. And so if you want another acre into parks, then that's 50 less in the purchase price. And if you want 3 acres more in the parks, it's 150 less in the purchase price. That's the kind of example. Now, that doesn't mean you can't negotiate something differently, but the appraisal is intended to give you a guideline as to what the value of the acreage is itself.
So I guess my question is, so is the 850,000 for the entire parcel? On page 3, is that, go ahead.
If you go back to page 6, it shows a map of the site with the individual parcels that were involved, and it points out where the post office is and the Polly's grocery store and so forth.
Yeah.
And if you look down through there, it has how much each of those parcels are in size.
Yes.
So you end up with about 22 acres minus, it's saying 0.8. That's those 3 lots along Main Street. And then minus 4 acres for the North Village Park. So he ends up with 17 acres. If you divide 17 into that 850, as I recall, that's 50,000 an acre.
Okay, so the answer to my question then is the 850,000 represents the 17 acres. That's my question.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. And so the next question, Madam Chair, is, before COVID came, we said that we were going to have a town hall meeting specifically for, talking about this, to let people know where we are.
Yep.
With the Livonia proposal, potentially with the synthesis of the proposal. So I'm not sure how to proceed with COVID, obviously, and we can only have gatherings of, I think it's only Ipsy and Washtenaw, or Ipsy and Ann Arbor, 25 outside, but I think that was what I understood. But anyway, we don't know how many would come. Is Zoom the appropriate way to do it? But do you have any thoughts or any what we could do to progress and move forward with that?
I thought originally it would be a good idea to have like an open house with all the ideas and solicit ideas from the public. and have them come and see display boards and, give us their idea of what they wanted to see in the park. That was what I thought would be good.
Okay,
And-
well, I think we already did that. I'm just saying, here's a Livonia Builder, here's the sense
Yep.
of the plan, or take them through the process that we've already done and where we are. I don't want to go through the process personally.
Well, I agree.
I just want to say, here's where we are, in case people weren't paying attention and now you are. And I don't want to have rehash it. It's like, here we are, here's A, here's B, here's A, B, C.
Right.
And
It
then
was-
just say,
Right.
So, but when do you think we can do that again? And how would we do that?
I don't know with the COVID. I don't know that we can do it virtually. I thought an open house and maybe an outdoor open house, but then you're dependent on the weather, And my thought was not necessarily to rehash it all, but to, like people like Mr. Munger could generate some ideas, and we would be talking about the park and specifics, not, we have a North Village plan.
Right.
We could just do the North Village plan. If we did the North Village plan, that would be phenomenal. But then why do we have to have, more feedback from the public unless it's for the specifics of what might be interesting to them on a park? So I don't know. And I don't know how to deal with it with this COVID problem. So I see Ms. Chick with her hand up. Go ahead.
We have the capability to have a virtual Zoom meeting for a town hall. We just have to make sure that we have the capacity to allow the number of attendees to be there. And you are correct. We have a master plan and we have a North Village plan. And whatever we decide to do, it just has to comply with that. The public has given a lot of ideas for what they would like to see in a park area. We have that. On Facebook one time, there was over 300 comments on what people wanted to see. So I don't think that there's a lot new as far as what they want to see in the park. We have to decide what we want to do with the whole area. So I think we could do it virtually. I do.
Okay. And I thought if we could have some concept plans for them to respond to, I think that would be valuable. But we don't have any concept plans. So, Mr. Dockett?
Yes,
Do you have something?
I'd like to take that 850,000 and subtract the 300 and whatever it was that we paid for it, and by now we must have another 150, 200,000 and all this that we've been doing, cutting the grass, loss of $22,000 a year taxes. Actually, we're going to end up owing more on the property than what it's worth. If it's only worth 850,000, if you subtract everything we got in it, there sure as hell ain't much profit in it if there's any, in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Chick?
Just, real quickly. I think the purpose of a town hall meeting is basically to hear the public talk. I don't know that we're trying to sell them on anything. I think they just want to be able to come and say, this is what I want to see, this is what I like, and then we don't make a decision that night. We just take it all into consideration, listen to what they have to say, but we have to make a decision at some point. But I think the town hall should be for the purpose of listening to the public.
Okay. Well,
I'd have to go, Madam Chair, I'd have to go look at our motions, because I think we said motions that we certainly do yard signs and banner for it.
Yes.
Yes.
We might have even said we'd spend up to $2,500 on a postcard.
Yes.
If I recall.
Okay.
So. Anyway.
Well, how we do that now with COVID and, I don't know, but I'm sure that a few of you can gather it together and figure it out, and we could do something.
Well, Lenore and I made a plan. We could follow that plan.
Oh, I'm sure.
We have.
I'm sure. Ms. Otto?
You could still do a public meeting. You can,
Postcards.
in the future. You could also put a Zoom meeting on there for the future. You could have it to where some people are in public, some people are on Zoom. You could have it in a big area and do it that way as well. There's a lot of different things to do it, but the problem is that you have to plan for it, and that's one thing that we haven't done.
Right.
We can say COVID all we want, but life goes on even in COVID. So let's move on.
Well, let's put together a plan for this, and then we'll bring it back to the board soon. Maybe next meeting, huh?
I don't know about that, but Madam Chair,
Yes.
Ms. Chick, maybe you and I can reconvene
Super.
and revisit
I
that.
think it needs to be done soon.
Yeah.
Can't have it. We have what, 5 meetings left?
Understand.
6. We have 6. I'm counting them, so we have 6 after tonight.
Also, Ms. Chick, I'll communicate with you and we'll pick a date or soon and get together and revisit that.
Okay. All right, so any more on the consent agenda, since we took that sideways path there? Okay, we have a motion by Chalkley, support by Chick, to accept the consent agenda as distributed. Roll call, please. Ms.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Chalkley,
Yes.
Docket. Mr. Docket,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Manley, yes. 7-0.
Okay, thank you, that passes. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the balance of the agenda as, well, just, we have Mr. McCoy back on. He was the one who wanted to speak to number 6. Is anyone interested in moving 6 up to in front of number 1?
I move to move agenda item number 6 up in front of item number 1 at this time.
Okay, so then we will, the motion would be to adopt the balance of the agenda with the, as distributed, with the exception of moving 6 ahead of number 1.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by
Chick.
Chick. Okay. Any comments on that?
I don't think we should.
Yes.
Items.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Dockett? Mr. Dockett?
Yes, I would like this to go by numbers, that we start switching this thing around when we get to, I'll get confused if you don't tell me what number we're on, so I can pick through my packet and get the right number.
Okay.
I don't know why you have to change it, but whatever.
I just thought out of courtesy, we have 2 people from long distance standing in for one of the items.
Okay, well, that's fine. I just want to make sure that that you speak, because I'm not on TV. I can't tell where we're at unless you say we're on number so-and-so.
Okay, Ms.
Thank
Manley,
you.
Yeah, 2 things. I agree. I don't think we should be switching around numbers just for a caller. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the way our meetings are. And then also, I just got a text that the Zoom meeting is not showing up online. It says, gives a webinar ID, but it's not showing, so.
Okay.
Know if that would be a Jim question.
Right, he got kicked off, so I don't see him back on. So I don't know what to do about that. It is being recorded in the cloud.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What's the issue, Miss Manley? I'm sorry. I don't.
Christina actually is trying to get on the meeting, watch it online, and it's not showing up. Basically, it says it's off air.
Oh, is she trying to watch it then through
Live stream?
live stream?
Can you not do that now?
I don't know.
It appears we cannot.
Apparently not.
That would have to be a Jim Wilson question.
He's not
Right.
on,
I don't see him on.
and maybe he couldn't get back on.
We kicked him out.
Okay. Well, I will withdraw my motion to change the order of the agenda items. And so my motion will be just to adopt the balance of the agenda as distributed. And I have a support by Ms. Chick still? Okay.
So I guess I would like to, you have discussion, right, Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So I guess I'd, propose to Mr. Fink again, is with our technical difficulty, live stream isn't happening. Jim, our recorder, couldn't get on, but do we continue these types of meetings?
I think that's a board question based on the information I have and seeing that there are 21 attendees, although Mr. Dockett is one of them. So let's say 18 to 20 members of the public. I think you're having a public meeting. I don't know about your live stream. I've never used it. I just looked at it online and it does say that it is off air, but I don't have any reason to think that's an Open Meetings Act violation.
Okay, thank you.
The board could decide that it doesn't want to continue the meeting.
No,
but
I just want your legal.
I don't think you have a violation now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. So can we have a vote on the balance of the agenda then? Ms. Manley?
Manley, yes. Shockley,
Yes.
Dockett,
What are we voting on?
The balance of the agenda as distributed.
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Zelenak.
Yes.
Okay. That's 7-0, right? Okay. All right. The first item on the agenda is the regular meeting minutes, and I imagine we have some corrections since I found some. Does anybody want to start?
Oh, we were going with 6. Did we go on 6?
No, we're not changing the order, Mr. Dockett.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Now we're on the minutes.
Lenore,
Okay.
you may want to reconsider your activities.
I don't know. What was that?
Um,
Okay, I will suggest that we, the changes that I found in the minutes, the second column under consent agenda, the fourth bullet, under in answer to questions, it should be the community center parking lot instead of the recreation center. Page 3, under, on the left side, the paragraph under the top thing where that says motion died for lack of a second, Lippin said the development packet procedures are very important. And then number 7 on the right-hand column, under the hiring the front desk clerk, I believe we hired at a pay rate of $15 an hour to work 30 hours per week. Is that
30 hours a week, I recall, yes.
30 hours a week, right, not 15.
Yep.
And then on page 5, under the ethics policy, apparently the motion carried 5-1 on a roll call vote, but it says Zelnok and Dockett are opposed. So I suspect it was just Dockett opposed, but Ms. Zelnok's name is there too. Ms. Zelnok, do you know? Where'd she go?
She went to the ladies' room and then disappeared.
I don't know.
It's too early for the break.
No. Right.
You gotta wait till 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, can we assume, Mr. Dockett, the ethics, well, so was everyone there at that point? Kathy left, so it would be 5-1. Oh, there she is. Ms. Zelnok, did you vote no on the ethics policy, page 5, under 13?
You're muted.
unmute.
I'm pretty sure I voted yes.
That's what I thought. So we'll just say Mr. Dockett voted no. Okay, those were all the changes I had in the minutes. Did anyone have anything else?
Is that the right number of people present at the meeting?
Yeah, we started out,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So it should be 5-1, then which is Dockett opposed, is what you're saying?
Right, but Ms. Manley left earlier, so then it was 6, it would have been 6 board members left, so.
Yeah, if you can look under number 10, it notes it above 10.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes of August 11th.
I have a question.
As amended. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett. Mr. Dockett?
Yes, I would just like to clarify something.
Okay, go ahead.
Under on page 4, second bullet point, you had made a motion to that anybody that purchased the property had
right.
Combined it, and I said we should check on that. And then, as I can read it here, you decided to rescind that. Is that correct?
Yes, I withdrew my motion.
Okay, so when we passed it, that wasn't included.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Yeah,
It's
you
still a good
withdrew the
idea.
motion.
Yeah, I withdrew it. That's what it says.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I made a motion to adopt the minutes as amended. Do I have a second?
Support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Bellinger. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please, Ms. Manley.
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Shockley,
Yes.
Yes.
Dockett, yes. Zelenak,
Yes.
Bellinger.
Yes.
I think everybody 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to make a motion to approve Chief Wagner and the Police Department to purchase a 2020 Chevy Tahoe police package from Bachman Commercial for a total price of $39,721.40, and the purchase will be made from account 207-900-974.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, and who was my first support?
Otto.
Otto, Miss Otto. Okay. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, Chief, what fund is that?
The vehicle fund for the actual police department budget. It's not. This will not be a forfeiture purchase with forfeiture funds.
And any reason? Typically, they have been.
Just trying to get more into the motion of purchasing it from the police fund, so that when we sell that, we don't have to put the funds back into the drug forfeiture. We can keep it into the police fund.
Okay, thank you.
And just real quick, Marlene had a question earlier today about outfitting it. I believe it's going to be between $11,000 and $12,000 to lights, sirens, graphics, radios, computers, that kind of stuff. So that's in the budget as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Wagner? Okay. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Manley.
Does Wayne have any questions?
His hand's not up. Mr. Dockett, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Go ahead.
Dockett,
Yeah. Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chalkley,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the letter of understanding between the Northfield Township and the Michigan Association of Firefighters, and approve Chief Wagner and Manager Ains to sign the agreement.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by
Everybody.
everybody.
It was
Okay.
me.
All right. Any discussion on this item?
Just real quick, it's basically a 50-cent an hour raise on all of the pay lines except for training, and that will go up to $1 an hour. And it is retroactive. The retroactive part will cost the budget about $800-900. And I did have it approved by Labor Attorney Stacy Carlisle.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Okay, roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Shockley,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to hire Danielle Roskins as a paid on-call firefighter trainee at the rate of $11 an hour, contingent on the successful passing of a background check and physical.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Bellinger. Any discussion on this one? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Manley, yes. Shockley,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may, Madam Chair, can I take this opportunity to do a shameless plug for the police department and school? We are about a little over $1,000 away from making me spend one night in jail. We were looking to raise about $6,000 for the students and teachers coming back to school at Whitmore Lake. So you can see that we've got most of the bars done there. And, excuse me, and with a little over $1,000 now. It looks as though I will be spending a night in the Northfield Township Jail. So anybody out there that is willing, it's a great cause for the school and the police department. So thank you.
That's a pretty shady looking picture there.
Well, and it was supposed to be. My wife wasn't very happy with that either, but she's excited about me spending a night in jail. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yep. So if anybody has a donation, they can drop them off at the township office and made out to Whitmore Lake Foundation for Educational Excellence. Okay, or they can make an online donation, and it's tax deductible. So
Foundation for Excellence, you called it?
yeah, it's www.wlfe.org. Kind of cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item I put on is for wireless hotspot at for the public at Fire Station number 2. Now, the board asked for the cost to have it done out at Fire Station number 2, and we've signed currently a quote from our IT person, Kelly Olson, and he is purchasing a T80 and the antenna and doing the wiring for here at the Public Safety Building. So we will have wireless opportunity here at the Public Safety Building. But we can take the router that's being replaced from the Public Safety Building out to the Fire Station number 2, so we would not have to buy another router, and it would have a capable firewall. We would just need the antenna and then whatever wiring. So it'd probably be about $450 at the most, but I said not to exceed. So if the board is interested, we could provide a second site out at Fire Station number 2 for very little money. And we have enough internet capability out there to handle whatever activity it was going to get. So if the board is interested, we could do this. And Ms. Zelnok, you were the one who specifically asked about Fire Station number 2. What do y'all think?
I think it's a great idea. Perfect opportunity, and the cost is amazing. So
Right, that's what I thought. So all right, I will make a motion to approve the installation of a wireless hotspot at Fire Station number 2 at a cost not to exceed $500.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Chick. Okay, discussion, Miss Otto.
So I am in favor of this, but I thought we also talked about outdoor security as well. Did we get a price for that?
Mr. Wagner.
I have talked to Kelly about that, but he has been so busy with his other several projects. I don't have a cost on that. It can be done, we know that, but that will, it's not, they don't have to go hand in hand. But
I understand that, but I just thought that we would have a cost. So I just don't want to forget that part of it. Because
well, no, I want that as well. So we'll make sure that we get that.
Okay, because if people are going to sit in the back of the parking lot or something like that, I'd at least want that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and just for the board's information, our officers sit back there quite often too, writing, if they're writing a report, they'll sit back there. So you'll see there already is a pretty big police presence there. That they use that as an office too, to use a bathroom or take a break in there. Just so that they don't have to come all the way back to the public safety building. So,
okay, thank you, Miss Bellinger.
I'm curious as to what the what's the monthly charge? What would the monthly charge be? I don't see. Is that information that I did not see?
We don't need to boost our service out there. I talked to Kelly about it today, and we should have enough out there to manage whoever's going to sit in the parking lot. And
we already pay a monthly charge from the fire department to have it out there.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about the library? Does the library have a hot spot that people are using at this point?
Yes.
I think they do in the pavilion.
Mm-hmm, they do.
They
Yeah.
do.
So this is for an antenna.
Basically an antenna and the wiring. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Create a hotspot, correct?
Yes.
And what if we find this is really not getting used? We can
Sell the antenna? We could. But anyway, yeah, we could.
At least we have all areas of the township covered.
Right.
We have, Firehouse 2, we have the downtown area, and we at least have the township. So we at least have
Right.
3 areas of the township covered.
Right. I know there's a lot of desperation out there, and I've been out on, talking to some neighbors too. And so we will, or I will, attempt to follow up with some neighbors to see what we can do with charter out that way. But that wouldn't necessarily involve the township. But I'm here at the township office because I don't have enough service to actually get to be able to do this meeting at home. So here I am. And that will be really helpful for me because if I have to update my computer, it eats up every bit of my 15 gigabytes that I have in a month, and I can't do anything else. So I know a lot of people are in the same boat. Okay, so I guess, are we ready for a roll call then? Oh, Mr. Dockett has his hand up. Mr. Dockett, go ahead.
Do we know what the cost per year after all this? What's it cost after we get on to the second year? How much does it cost?
None. We have enough internet capacity at our buildings to handle this without increasing our service. So if by some crazy, occurrence we need to increase it, it would be $23 a month at the public safety building. I can't imagine. And if we decide to do that for the first year, which Kelly says we don't even need that, we shouldn't have any additional cost.
Well, why are they reimbursing us for $1,500?
That's for the equipment.
Let me finish, please.
Okay.
Can I finish
Yes.
my question?
Do it.
Why are they offering to give us $1,500 plus up to $600 for the public safety building, And then for out at the Station 2, it's $500. There's $1,000 difference between $1,500 for the public safety and $500 for that. Plus, I see nothing here on how much a month it is afterwards.
Okay.
So I wouldn't vote for this.
Okay. The deal is, the county believes...
Because I wouldn't vote for it because we don't have the figures.
Okay, I have the figures. The deal is, the county believes that everyone ought to have access to enough...
I understand all that. You don't have...
Oh.
I understand all that. We don't have to go over it again. There's no... I asked you a question, what's the cost? And you fumbled along, but you didn't give me any price of what it costs. So that's where we're at. We don't know what it costs after the first year, I guess.
Nothing.
Okay, you don't know, so we're voting for
Zero.
something that we don't
Mr.
know.
Dockett, it's zero. Okay.
You might be telling me a story.
Okay. Let's vote, please.
Manley, yes. Otto?
Yes.
Chick? Yes. Bellinger?
Yes.
Dockett?
No.
Zelenak?
Yes.
Chockley?
Yes.
6-1.
6-1. Thank you very much. Okay, here we are on, here we are on 75 Barker.
What was the vote?
6-1, Mr. Dockett.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Would you like to have the discussion first before we actually make a motion to approve the extension? I know Mr. McCoy would like to speak about this, and Mr. Munger. Here, I'll start with Mr. Munger. Mr. Munger, I'm allowing you to speak now on your request for an extension. Can you unmute Mr. Munger?
Star 6, is that what it is? Star 6?
I guess. I can't seem to. Well, no, he's not on the phone, so as far as I know. All right, I'll try David McCoy. Okay, Mr. McCoy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, thank you.
Hey. All right, so Mr. Munger had to step away this evening. I apologize. I was muted, so I couldn't communicate that. So I'll speak in his place. I am with A3 Environmental, for those of you who haven't spoken with me yet. We performed environmental investigation around the limits of the former tank basin that was on site a few weeks ago, and we identified residual contamination from the heating oil that had leaked out of that tank when it was removed. At this point, we've spoken with Mr. Munger. He would like to move forward and remediate that portion of the site to remove the contamination. And right now, we're currently working under a grant. We wanted to see if we could get a grant extension of sorts to help with the remedial costs to remove that property or the contamination from the property prior to his purchase. That's kind of the quick tour there. Do you have any questions?
I do. You mentioned a grant extension. I know you got the grant to do the phase 2,
Yes.
phase 1, phase 2, but you don't have a grant, as far as I know, to do any remediation yet. Is that true?
That is true, and we're wondering if we need to apply for a second grant or whether he needs to make an amendment to the first one. We wanted to reach out to you and see what the best methods moving forward were.
Do you have any cost estimates?
I had a contractor reach out to me today, and he needs to visit the site, but he said it wouldn't cost any greater than $10,000. I know that's not the greatest estimate just throwing out there at you, but I estimated out about 10 cubic yards of material to be removed on a conservative number. And that would include all the permitting, mobilization, disposal, confirmation sampling, etc. on that site.
Okay. We could probably request funding from the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Again, I don't know what their ability is to fund the remediation, but we can reach out to Nathan Voigt and find out. That may be helpful. But at any rate, all of these details aren't necessarily worked out, and you're then looking for, well, Mr. Munger's looking for an extension on finishing the sale until these details are worked out, is my assumption.
Yeah, and it sounded like he needed, they were looking for like another 30 days. We kind of want to move on this quickly at the same time, just so you guys can go ahead and close the deal as well, and we can get everything wrapped up out there so he can move forward with this development.
Okay, I'm willing to write a letter, and I'm sure the board would be also willing to sign on to a letter for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to assist in the remediation of that site. At least I hope the board would be, but anyway, we could probably work on those details, and I would make a motion to approve the extension to complete the sale of 75 Barker to September 30th, 2020. Okay, a motion by Chalkley, support by Otto. Any more discussion on this? Mr. Ains, did you want to chime in for any reason, or any board members? Okay, Miss Otto, I see your hand up.
Yeah.
Miss Otto, I saw your hand up.
I was just saying. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Ains.
Oh, I was just saying I'll defer to the board members first.
Okay.
All right. So the question I have was, is this a second grant that was from the Brownfield Redevelopment Association, and did we have our name associated with it the first time?
Are you talking about the one, the phase one that was done quite a few years ago?
No, I'm talking about the one that's recent with Munger.
The recent one? Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Munger applied to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority with the county for this, and I just wrote a letter of support for that.
Did it have the township? Did it have the township logo on the?
No, it was just an email. I approached Nathan, and actually Mr. Munger did the application. So it was all handled exteriorly.
Yeah, but my question is did you represent the township as you did this?
I'm not sure what that would have meant.
The board didn't know about it. That's what it means.
That he went to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority?
And then that you put in a support for it, and we had no knowledge of it.
Okay. Well,
not
perhaps.
that I'm saying that he couldn't do it or he could do it. I just think that would have been common courtesy to the board that we were aware of it at the time that it happened.
Okay. I can tell you we had 1 day's notice to get it on the board agenda so that we could move this forward, for the Brownfield board agenda to move it forward. So that's how it got on so quickly, and it happened right after a phone call I made to Nathan about it. So if that was a mistake, I apologize. I didn't realize that just my contacting Nathan made that much difference. And then I did attend the meeting and said that the board, representing the township, saying that the board was attempting to sell this property and that we had these issues. So other than that, you know, I mean, if that's criminal,
it's not criminal.
Yeah.
But this is the type of stuff that has happened throughout the years. And this is the stuff that makes our board cringe. When things are brought to us and then we're told after the fact that something has happened. While it was a day that you took to put on somebody's agenda, it would have taken you 10 minutes to reach out to the board and say, this is what happened.
Okay. I'll see what I actually did back then. It was a while ago, and I think he received like $6,000 to help do the phase one, phase two. So anyway, I apologize if I didn't tell anybody else about that. I suspect that I had some communications, but anyway, I do apologize if that was the case. Ms. Chick.
So if he applies for a grant now for additional funding, how long will it take? Is September 20th long enough for him to get? I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't called. I mean, this is the first I've found out about this. So I haven't called, and I suspect Mr. Munger could call directly Nathan, and they have had conversations by email.
Yeah, I would imagine if Mr. Munger wants this, now he's the one that's trying to purchase the property, that would be a communication between him and Nathan.
Right.
Yeah, I would think so because
Yeah.
of the funding, so, okay.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I'd hate to see this sale fall through because the board failed to take action to be helpful. So,
Do they need a letter of support?
I think we're saying that we would not be helpful. I think
Yeah.
what is being said is at least we need to be
Okay.
brought in.
Okay. Well, if he needs a letter of support from this board,
Yeah.
are you all willing to sign on to that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So do you need to see the letter first, or are you just all willing? I mean, I can.
Oh, I think everybody needs to at least see the letter before they
Okay.
sign it.
Okay. Well, mine was just an email. You know, I said, hey, Nathan, there's the situation, you know, so. Okay. And if everybody wants to see all my emails, I'm happy to show them to you when I communicated with Nathan about it. Okay, Mr. Dockett has his hand up. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
Yeah, I'd like to know why some people can speak 2 or 3 times while I'm pushing *9 and you don't call on me.
Okay.
It's very frustrating. Howard Fink, township manager at the time, Bill Wagner, and I, along with other from Northfield Township, was there when they dug up the tank. We spent a lot of money there. They dug up the tanks. They hauled them away. They dug out the hole, several dump trucks full, and then they took the sample, and the sample came back. It did not pass. They called the trucks back, the collection come back. They dug out some more dump trucks full of the dirt. And then they sent out for another sample. And it came back and they said it was okay and they filled up the hole. Now, Bill Wagner knows what happened maybe, or maybe he'll have something to say about this, because we were all led to believe after doing all this and spending all this township money that we had a clean bill of health there. I'd like to know what Bill has to say about that, or why we had a problem now. And do we have any paperwork from when we had this done several years ago? I don't know, it was 10, 12 years ago or something. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Wagner.
I would agree with Mr. Dockett. Everything he said is true. There should be paperwork, and I've asked a couple times. It should be in the file in the township offices. I've never seen it, but that's what we did with it. I never really got an answer when I asked, but when they came to me for the environmental study, that's where I directed them to, was the file, and I never followed up with it, but that's what we told them from the fire department side. But Mr. Dockett's right. We did exactly that. We had the tank removed. We removed some soil, tested it, removed some more soil, tested it again, and my understanding was it was clean at that time.
Okay. Mr. Haynes?
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Did you ever find any paperwork, Mr. Ains?
We found reference in a prior phase 1 environmental on the property that referred to tank removal, but did not give enough specifics to define what the situation was. When they came out to look at it, I asked Bill to come over and show them where the tank was, because I didn't know exactly where it was located on the property, so Bill was very helpful with that. This phase 2 environmental that Mr. Munger just had done, it's dated August 24th, which was yesterday. So I just now got it. It's about 80-page document that I've been looking through today. But the summary makes it clear that their test results show the water tests that they took were fine, but the soil tests they felt were contaminated to the point that it needed some additional removal.
This is Dave with A3, if I'm still unmuted. Yeah, we performed 5 soil borings out there. Our field representative was on site. During the investigation, he did note that he had petroleum odors in the samples and staining. That's kind of what drove our sample plan. The sample exceedances, I guess the best way to explain it is it's a leaching exceedance in the Michigan groundwater regulations. So basically it's, as water passes through it, it leaches into the groundwater, which then hits surface water and would contaminate surface water. So if the groundwater were to pass through this contamination, go to Whitmore Lake over there, and then it would basically pass into the surface water. That's the easiest way I can explain it. They were residual concentrations. I mean, they're, the best way to address something like that is just to remove it. We don't have to remove all of it during the remediation. Obviously, there was clean fill brought in during the whole removal process and over excavation. We could pull up the upper 3 or 4 feet, place it beside the excavation, excavate the contaminated material, and then replace the clean fill back in there and then backfill it with additional clean fill. So we were provided a formal report, I believe from 2010, that showed some detections in that area, and that's what we were following up with.
Okay. Does everyone have their questions answered about this extension, or would it be helpful? Unfortunately, Mr. Munger's not here.
If you have specific questions, I can have him call in real quick. I do have his cell number. If there's
I just wonder if he would, if September 30th, as one of our board members suggested, long enough. Although we would like to get this over with.
Okay. If you give me about a minute here.
To spend more money.
Yeah.
Mr. Dockett.
Are they asking the township to spend more money on this?
I'm on the call for the board, and they want to know if September 30th is a reasonable extension. Yeah, I believe so. As long as we can get the grant in place, we should be okay.
Marlene, I have a question.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. McCoy.
We could do that. I can ask them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Ms. Otto, go ahead.
Thank you.
So in this, you said that we have not received the extension letter from Mr. Munger. Have we received that yet, or is he just waiting for the date to send that to us?
I don't know. Mr. Ains would know that, potentially. Mr. Ains?
I believe he provided an email to that effect.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a formal letter or not, but I verbally had talked to him about it. The board had authorized me to do certain administrative tasks with the sale, and so when he came back initially and said he needed to do a phase 2, I went ahead and took action to extend it. But talking to Mr. Fink, we felt like one extension was sufficient administratively, and that I needed the board to be aware of the need for an extension and why, and get your consent to extend it further.
This is Dave one more time. I just got off the phone with Rob. He said October 15th would work for him too, if that works for you all.
Well, it's a safer date, I guess.
Yeah, that gives us a little extra time to get a more, a grant in place if need be, and just to get everything scheduled. The remediation's not the issue. I think it's just the administrative in front of that.
Okay. All right. So I'll amend the motion to approve an extension to complete the sale of 75 Barker by October 15th, 2020. And that was a motion by Chalkley. And Ms. Otto, do you still support that?
I still support it.
Okay. Can we have a roll call on that, please, Ms. Manley?
Zelenak,
Yes.
Chalkley,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Docket.
I have been pushing star 9. I want to know if they're asking the township to spend more money on this deal, or are they paying for this? That's what I want to know.
Mr. Docket,
That was my question.
I don't think you're muted, so I think you can speak up at any time.
But we did have a whole conversation about them applying for a grant.
She won't answer me. I don't get answered.
I think you can
So
just
that's
speak.
why. But when you have to call on me, when you need me to vote, then I can get in. So my question is, I want to know if the township is going to put up money for this test when already paid for the test twice years ago, and the paperwork is available at the township. So are we going to pay more money for this test, or are we not? That's my question.
Address that.
And that was not the motion. The motion was not to pay anything. The motion was to extend. So he can test, and he is applying for a grant to pay for it.
I still wanted to ask that question during the discussion, but she wouldn't answer me.
Could I answer the question?
Yes.
Mr. Munger has not asked for any additional compensation or assistance or lowering the price or anything else along that line at this point.
My answer is yes.
Okay. I think I was the last one. So Manley, yes. 7-0 vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now, if Mr. Munger needs a support from this board for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, I guess I'll make a motion that this board provide a letter of support, if needed, for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority when Mr. Munger applies for another grant.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Bellinger. Any discussion on that one? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Docket, do you have any questions?
I don't understand what we're voting on.
We're voting on providing a letter of support for Mr. Munger's application for a grant from the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the remediation of 75 Barker.
My vote has been the last vote I voted yes on. The only time I ever voted on anything yes there. So my answer is no.
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Manley.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Chalkley,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Bellinger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
6-1.
Thank you. Okay, next item. I move to refuse the establishment and maintenance of a municipal water system for parcels B02 19 100 005 and B02 19 100 006.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Bellinger. And this is some property associated with the Leland Farm and Chestnut Development. And they need this from us in order to be able to go ahead and start drilling to look for water, apparently. So, any questions, any comments? Ms. Chick?
So they're looking for water to provide water to the development when it's established, if it gets established. So you're talking about, it's not municipal water, it's a private water system. Okay, so, and they would be maintaining that, not the township? Would they
Right.
have authority over it? Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Ms. Otto?
They actually have.
Go ahead, Mr. Ains, then. Go ahead.
They've actually started drilling the test wells, but what they have to do is tell the state whether it's going to be a private system or a municipal system. And I told them that it would be a private system, that the township had no water system,
Right.
and I did not think the township would be amenable to running that because it'd be very expensive. And so they just need something more official in terms of a resolution, the state is telling them through the Eagle Group.
Okay. Ms. Otto, you had something?
Yeah, this wouldn't be any different than Northfield Estates, because Northfield Estates has their own water system.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Ms. Manley, let's vote.
Otto?
Yes.
Manley? Yes. Zelenak?
Yes.
Shockley?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Bellinger?
Yes.
Docket?
I understand that they're asking for something that doesn't exist. Is that correct? You didn't answer me. I pushed *9, but you didn't answer. So my question is, they're asking for something that we don't have. It doesn't exist.
I guess I could answer that if you want. This is for a prospective development that has not been submitted to the township. It's not started the process at all, but before they can do that, they need to make sure that there's sufficient water to support the development before they would go ahead with the formal process. And so the only thing they've done is drilled some test wells, and the state is saying that they need something definitive that the township does not want to run a water system there, or we do. And I've told them we don't, but they're saying having that from me is not sufficient. It needs to be a formal action of the board during your regular meeting.
And my answer is no.
It doesn't exist now, no.
Okay. Shockley, did you vote?
I'm voting yes.
Okay. Manley, yes. 6-1.
Okay, thank you. That passes. Okay, next item is the website. Okay. Did y'all pour through all of this stuff? I'm going to make a motion for the WebGen upgrade, because I don't know that we need this fancy customized one. Well, unless y'all want to discuss it.
Well, let's make the motion and see. I
Okay.
agree with the WebGen one.
I will make a motion for the WebGen upgrade.
I support.
Okay, to allow the township manager to move forward with the upgrades proposed by Revise, including the Documents on Demand feature at a cost of not to exceed $4,000, and to allow the township manager to sign any necessary paperwork pending legal review. So that's a motion by Chalkley and support by Bellinger. Okay, discussion. What do y'all think? And Mr. Ains, feel free to...
Don't forget Docket.
And Mr. Docket, he's got his hand up. Oh, my gosh.
I did not catch the price. Would you tell me the price?
No more than 4,000.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, you've been asking, and the public as well, that we do something to upgrade or change the website. We've been looking at proposals to do that and realizing that the board prefers to have at least 3 proposals. We've asked for input from the board in the past on some of this. The recommendation of staff is that we upgrade it with the current provider and either do it as a where we take their standard upgrade, or the more expensive one is where it's customized to fit the township. You can do the first one to do the basic and then upgrade at a later point if you want to, or you can go straight to getting it upgraded where it's specific to what your desires are with the website.
So, anyway, what do y'all think? It wouldn't be a lot different probably, well, it could be. The website needs a lot of work as far as, I think, layout and content on the pages. Otherwise, it's not unattractive.
You could just call it a question.
But it is hard to, you know, find things sometimes. Ms. Chick.
So I know that we're limited with what we have now with how much we can actually put on there. Does this increase our capacity? And who's going to administer it? We need somebody that's on it constantly to make it updated all the time. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything.
Right, and that's our decision on assigning, I mean, or Mr. Ains on assigning somebody to do that. Right now, Jennifer does it, and she has, and Mary does it. She puts her stuff up. I think there's a couple other people. Over in the police and fire, they have a person or two that have access to it, and they upgrade their materials on it. But you know, it's just going to be sitting down and actually making sure the layout is very user friendly, and you know, so that's all up to everybody. But it would be very easy for the conversion because we are already with Revise, and they're providing the documents on demand featured that would be really, really helpful. And Jennifer's pretty excited about that. Miss Otto.
So I was looking at some of the features that they have on there, and I didn't know if this one covers it or what, like the online bill pay. We don't have anything like that now. Is that something that this one would cover it?
Oh, the WebGen one?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know that specific. Unfortunately, Jennifer's not on here. Mr. Ains, you had a meeting with the representative. What can you tell about that?
Again, Jennifer has been our specialist on it, but let me back up a bit. When you had your current system installed, Jennifer was here. She said it took about 6 months to get it up and running and was a huge amount of work. And so that's one reason that she wants to go with the same company, because it'd be easier to transition. Of those two, she'd rather do the customized and do it all at one time, so it gets to be what the board wants it to be. But if if we had to go with the lower one, we would. But without some kind of investment in the website, anything we do right now is just kind of scratching the surface.
So some of the features in here are like public service requests, citizens requests, public records requests, a citizens connection. I mean, these are all things that, or parks reservation. These are all things that increase our communication with the public. And if we're not getting that, and all we're getting is a small upgrade or upgrade to just expand it a little bit, I don't think that we're getting to the point of where we need to be. That's why I'm questioning. Because what I read in here, it looks like it's more customizable. Some of these features are more customizable than part of their WebGen pricing. Now, see, they do say in here, they have the citizens communication, the engagement center, staff productivity. I mean, actually, they just have two areas where they have engagement. They don't have where people request forms, where people can reserve things. They can request public records. And I don't know how online bill pay would be a benefit to us. I would think that COVID, it would probably be very handy.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Elnor?
I'll leave that to Lenore.
Yeah, well, we can actually, right now we can do, you can pay your bills online. You mean,
Our vendor first.
Pardon me? So you can do a bill pay online, be for credit card, or you can phone in and pay it through a phone call.
But they can't go through our website, though.
Well, you do go, you pay online. So yeah, you do. There's a pay online.
Okay.
And so you do that. As Jennifer did recommend we do the customize.
Did she? Okay.
In talking with her, I guess my concern too is, is she going to have the time to put in to do it and to keep it up to date? I think one issue that we currently have right now is if you go out and look at the DDA, new DDA members out there.
Yeah.
And there's other things. So I think they have to have a commitment that it will be a priority. It has to be a priority, or putting more money. I mean, it's hard to find things. I want to do something. I mean, I think the WebGen would be better than nothing. However, we do have to have a commitment that someone will be a priority. When something happens, there has to be, you can't be 2 weeks later to do something. It has to be kept up to date. I think someone more than Jennifer and Ms. Carlisle should have the assistant. If something happened, who would update it tomorrow? So I want a commitment from Mr. Ames that it will be given a priority, that things will be up to date pretty much. I don't know if it's daily. I mean, if there's something that has to go out, it needs to go out. But I would recommend that we go and spend the extra $3,000 up front and do the customization one. And I just want to make sure we have more than one person updating it and that it's committed to do it timely. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's worth spending the money.
Okay.
So Lenore, I know because we run a portal for the state of Michigan, we do our changes on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Instead of a daily basis.
Okay, then, if we think, for a mass change, but if something has to get out there, maybe the exception can be, within a day. But weekly would be fine. And I would like to have a backup too, to be able to go in there and update it.
Okay. Ms. Chick?
I'm wondering if there's someone out there in the public that has expertise at this and setting up websites that might volunteer to help to come in and do this initially or on a regular basis. I mean, we can ask. It's really hard for the staff to keep up with this. I understand that. There are changes going on weekly, daily sometimes, but definitely weekly that should be implemented as quickly as possible. But so if we can get some help any way we can, volunteer would be awesome. Just my thought. If anybody out there is listening and is willing to do this and help out, please do so.
Okay. Other comments? Mr.
I
Ains?
would mention we had a volunteer that had approached the township that I thought had a lot of background that would be helpful in this. And she spent 2 days with us, but then unexpectedly had another commitment, so she had to pull out of the volunteer program. But certainly if there are people out there that have time available and would want to help out the township, we'd certainly be interested in talking to them.
Okay, Ms. Bellinger?
I don't know if a background check and so forth may be necessary. If you're permitting someone to do volunteer work on our website of the township, that might be a little bit of a concern. That's all. But at this point, I think we're chasing rabbits. We have We have a motion on the floor to decide whether or not we want to upgrade and get moving forward with some improvements to the website.
Okay.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to increase it to 7,000 for the custom website.
Okay. Well, let's vote on your amendment. Well, I can okay. Let's vote on your amendment to upgrade to the customized version.
I'll support.
Is Mr. Dockett got any comments?
Mr. Dockett?
His hand is not.
Is it still 4,000?
No.
It's up to 7,000.
I did not hear that.
It's up to 7,000 a year. No, 7,000 to begin with, and then.
Are we talking about the website?
Yes.
Indeed.
And you said it was 4,000, and now it's what, up to 7,000?
Yep. We have a friendly amendment to get the customized version. Well, I'm just going to withdraw mine, and let's just go for the customized version. And if that doesn't pass, we'll go back to the other one.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So I withdraw mine.
Well, I need to know. Are we voting on 4,000 or 7?
We're voting on 7.
Soon.
Excuse me.
7,000.
Yeah.
We need a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Otto and support by Ms. Zelnok for the customized version that is $7,000.
How much?
7,000, Mr. Dockett.
7,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't understand. My phone is about ready to give out now. Okay. So now it's not 4,000, it's 7,000.
Right.
Double. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Manley.
Unmute.
Mr. Dockett? Dockett?
No.
Okay, thank you. Zelenak?
I will say yes, and we'll need to make another motion after this, but yes.
Okay, Shockley?
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Bellinger?
No.
So,
5-2.
6-1?
5-2.
5-2. Okay.
5-2.
Okay.
Then I'd like to make a motion that the annual.
What was the vote? What was the vote?
5-2.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd make a motion that the annual fee after year 1 is 2,000.
I'll support.
Okay. So a motion by Ms. Zelnok and support by Ms. Otto for the annual fee being the $2,000 required after year 1. Okay.
Question? What was the annual fee with the other package?
2,000.
It was the same 2,000?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
What's the total?
2,000 a year, Mr. Dockett.
An annual.
What is the total?
For which year? Year 1 is
Ma'am, I can't understand.
Okay.
I want to know how much money we're talking about.
Year 1 was $7,000. Year 2,
Oh, 7.
and we already voted and that passed. Year 2 is $2,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Does year 1 include the 2,000?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not 9,000.
No.
Right.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay. Roll call.
Okay. Dockett?
No.
Zelenak?
Yes.
Bellinger?
No.
Chick?
Yes.
Shockley?
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto?
Yes.
5-2.
Okay. It is 9:04. Do you want a break? We have 3 items left and then announcements.
Want to break, Mr. Dockett?
Does anybody want a break? Okay, we're keeping on going.
Just get up and go if you need a break.
Yep. Okay. Wastewater treatment plant. All right. I'm going to make a motion to authorize the publication of the public indebtedness notice and distribution of the public indebtedness notice postcards as soon as practical after September 13th.
What are we on? Are we on number 10?
We are on number 9.
And I'll support.
Motion by
Are we
Charlie.
on number 10?
No.
9.
Number
We're still on that?
No, we're on it again. I mean, we're on it for the first time. Number 9. The wastewater treatment bonding process, timing.
Oh,
Okay. Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Do we at the township have an enforceable ordinance to prevent sump pump discharges into the sewer system?
Did we make a motion?
I made a motion. This is a separate discussion item, isn't it, Ms. Bellinger?
It's here. I get it. I didn't know. Did we get a second on your motion?
Yes, Chocolate
Okay.
Auto.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry about that.
I would like to know if we do have an enforceable ordinance to prevent sump pump discharge into our sewer system.
So sump pump discharge, what do you mean? Are you talking stormwater?
I'm
No,
talking people taking their sump pumps, discharging it into the sewer system, thus increasing the flow during storm time.
I don't think we actually fine them, but they are not supposed to do it, and I know the wastewater treatment guys have been out looking for that sort of thing. And I know neighbors know when that's happening, but they don't want to snitch on their neighbor when that happens. But I know it does happen. So, but that's not going to solve our problem with the wastewater treatment.
Additionally to that, if this ordinance, does it apply to all users, even those in Green Oak?
What are you talking about?
Well, if we do have an ordinance or no? If we do, does it also apply to those in Green Oak, anybody on the sewer?
It would.
I think we need to find a way to clean that up.
Yep.
Either with or without a basin. This is quite likely a big factor in this excess flow during wet waters, during wet season.
I think we have regurgitated this over and over again for probably 5 to 7 years that we've discussed this.
Right.
Well, why hasn't no action been done on this if this is actually a big cause of the problem?
It's not.
It's
Can
not.
I speak? Can I speak?
Yeah, Ms. Fick.
I've actually talked to Mr. Willis about that and questioned him on this as well. It is not the big factor into the issues at the wastewater treatment plant. Number two, that they sent out a letter a little while ago to people. They can ask voluntarily for people to let them to come in and take a look at their system and help them if there's an issue, and tell them they can or cannot do that. They can be fined, which is why they don't let them in. They do not have to let the township into their house, and that's the only way they can find out if people are doing this, unless people volunteer that information. So it's not a big factor in the overflow at the wastewater treatment plant.
Right. Ms. Otto?
Now, I know that we've had discussions that we could put an ordinance in place when somebody goes to sell their home. And that would be the only time that we could find it.
Right.
But that
Perhaps
would
be a good idea.
Yeah, but we did not go down that road, and that was just brought up this year. And we did not go down that road for it. So we thought, let's hold off, and then we'll have that as the next step.
Okay. I know I brought up time of sale a long time ago, but we just haven't had the bandwidth to deal with some of these things, so unfortunately. Okay. So, any more comments, questions about the timing that's being presented here and the motion?
Flexibility is in this timing.
Pardon?
How much flexibility is in this timing if things get delayed or postponed?
Could I
Mr.
address
Ains?
that?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ains.
Okay. At the last meeting, the board was concerned that we didn't have a timeline. And the reason we didn't was because we didn't have a starting point. Once you approved having it go out to bid, then this falls into a pretty precise timeline. The bids have already been advertised as of last Friday. If you authorize us going with the notice that's under your own requirements that we notify by postcard to the public, then that has to fall within a certain time frame in order for the board to consider the awarding of the bid and the authorization to borrow the funds. If you go past the October 13th board meeting, which would be when you would have the call to the public for the public who are responding to the postcards, you'd have the recommendation from Tetra Tech on the award of the bids. You would be considering accepting that bid, and you'd also be voting to purchase the required bonds. If you go past the 13th, then you're getting into a week before election being the next time you could act on it, or you're postponing it to next year. And if you postpone it past this fall time period, you're probably postponing construction to late next year. If you award a bid at this point in time, what we've laid out here, then the contractor would have the ability to lay into his spring schedule, order materials, line up his labor force, all those kind of good things, so that in the spring, which is the best time to start the construction, you could get underway and have it done probably by fall. The later you push it back, the more likely you are to push it into another year before you'd finish it. And if you push it past the election, then it won't be this board making the decision. It'll be up to the next one.
Right. Bond rates are really low at this point. I mean, this is probably the best we're going to do as far as getting low bond rates to have this done. So I don't see any reason to continue to put this off.
What is the
longer.
motion?
So the motion, who wants to vote on? I mean, you're all ready? Anybody else have any more questions?
Typically, there's a motion, then there's discussion, then there's voting.
Yep, and the motion was already made to authorize the publication of the public indebtedness notice and distribution of the public indebtedness notice postcards as soon as practical after September 13th. I made that motion and Ms. Otto seconded it. So, more questions? Ms. Zelnok.
One is, when we do the postcard, I know the last one that we did for that was legalese. So that may be part of the requirement to make it legalese, but can we also have like a layman's part of it as well? So if you have to have legal terms and all that, fine, but then can we kind of had a concise little, so that the average person will understand what it's talking about?
Okay.
That's one request I have.
Okay.
The other one is there any update on the deed restriction that is out there? And is there any estimate, on getting that resolved?
Mr. Ains?
Well, Mr. Fink and I have talked about it previously. I don't know if he has an update on it or not tonight, or would want to talk about it at all, because it is potentially litigation.
Right.
I don't have an update, and one of the reasons was not wanting to spend your money on doing extensive research until you knew that you intended to proceed with the project. But and I wouldn't want to discuss any updates in this forum. I'd probably want to ask you for a closed meeting on that. But I think that while you are in the bid process, we can have some discussion about the deed restriction and what happens next.
I have another item.
Okay.
So the way the ordinance is, I would like to consider changing the ordinance so that the postcards go out at the same time or within a week or 10 days that we have to make the publication where the people can actually have 45 days to do the referendum. I think it might be something to look at that it goes at that point in time. So when you publish it in the paper, the public has 45 days to get signatures to do a referendum on indebtedness.
Okay.
And I think it might be best to do it at that time so that if they hear about it, they may do it, as opposed to now the 45 days of doing a referendum are over. So now it's people may come to the meeting, the board may listen to them or may not, but there is no referendum able. So I'm requesting that we consider moving the time frame up, that the postcards go out when the publication is put in the paper.
Okay, Ms. Otto?
I think the reason why they don't have that one more is because statutorily we have to make an we have to send out an announcement anyways. And the way that it's set up now is either the ordinance or our statute, we still have to send out an ordinance. We still have to send out a mailing. So if we do it your way, we're sending out 2 mailings, just so if everybody understands.
So so it has to be published in the paper, right? And then you have 45 days to do a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, let's do the postcards at the same time. That way people are aware and they will be able to do the referendum. I don't know. I mean, some people may have read it in the paper. Some people may not have read it in the paper. At least if they get a postcard, then I think it's more visible and more transparent to them.
So you're talking about the postcards going out at the the notice of the intent to bond,
Correct.
Which, so I guess that's a change to the ordinance that can be made later. It won't affect this one.
It will not affect this. It's just, I think the intent of the ordinance, and I'm reading the intent, which is probably never a good legal thing, is that it was to give people time to take action if they so desired.
Okay.
And I think doing it now, the only action they can do is talk to the 7 of us and say, hey, they either like it or they don't like it. The time to do a referendum is now passed.
Okay. Well, maybe you can bring that up with the next board and change it, or next month or whatever, know.
Anyway,
So,
that's my thought. Those are my 3. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay.
Does Docket have any questions?
Yeah, it doesn't have his hand up, but thanks for asking, Mr. Dockett. I guess not. Do you have any questions?
No, I vote no on this.
Okay, I figured.
Good.
All right, Mr. Ains, does this motion include all the dates that you need to? I'm wondering, is the notice ready? I mean, would it be ready to go in the newspaper this weekend? Right? Would it?
Well, the bid notice is already out, if you're referring to that.
No, I'm referring to the public indebtedness notice. I'd like to see it in August 30th, as opposed to on Labor Day weekend. I mean, probably you already have one, right, from Steve Mann, correct?
Well, yeah. What has already happened is the bid advertisement went out last Friday. Then you have the board meeting tonight talking about the postcard part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the September 3rd one is the pre-bid with the contractors.
Okay.
And then you're leading into the bid openings. But under your present legislation on the notices, as explained by Mr. Mann, who's the bond advisor, you cannot send it out too far in advance, and you can't send it out too late. So it falls between September 13th and October 5th if you were going to take action on the October 13th board meeting. So if you put it out before September 13th, you're in violation of that requirement. If you put it out too short a time after October 5th, it's too late for the October 13th meeting.
Okay.
Does that answer it?
I just wondered, when is the soonest we can publish the public indebtedness notice?
I would think September 13th is when we can mail it out.
Is
And
there,
then
are you
you would-
referring to something other than the postcards, Marlene? You're talking about a notice.
Yeah, there's two things. There's two things. We have to publish a public indebtedness notice in the newspaper. And then we have to send out a postcard, which is basically the same thing. So it would be great if they both went simultaneously. And the sooner the better, I would think, in case there's a snafu like we
I
had
agree.
with before.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm looking at all these dates and everything, but it doesn't tell me, it doesn't say what is the earliest we can send out the public indebtedness notice.
Well, the way I'm reading this, Marlene, if it's between September 13th and October 5th, then the earliest that we can send it out and publish it is on the 13th.
The earliest, okay. So then, okay, as soon as is practical after September 13th. Okay, so I guess I had that right.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I guess we can vote on the motion unless anybody else has any questions. Okay, roll call.
Motion
The motion is
for a while.
to authorize the publication of the public indebtedness notice and distribution of the public indebtedness notice postcards as soon as practical after September 13th.
And before October 5th?
Well, I would hope it'd be really darn close to, yeah, September 13th. Sooner the better.
After September 13th, but no later than?
I would put no later than October 5th.
Okay.
Or 4th.
Great.
Okay. Okay.
Good?
Yep, I'm good. Is everybody good?
Docket? Docket?
October 4th is a Sunday.
Yeah, October 4th is the date that it gets in the newspaper.
What are we voting on?
We're voting on publishing the public indebtedness notice.
Yeah, for the equalization tank.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I vote no.
Okay, yeah, we know. I mean,
Okay, we good?
okay. Yes, go ahead.
Otto?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Bellinger?
Yes.
Zelenak?
No.
Shockley?
Yes.
Manley? Yes. So 5-2.
Okay, that passes 5-2. Thank you. Okay, next item. Okay. I will move to approve the close of the township office from 1 to 1:30 daily for lunch, so that staff can have lunch.
I'll support.
Motion by Chalkley and support by Otto? Was that Otto?
Manley?
Oh, Manley. Okay. Chalkley, Manley. Discussion on this item. We've got hands up everywhere. Ms. Chick?
Is that going to be a problem for the public? I mean, shouldn't we have somebody there all the time, at least one person? Do other township offices close for lunch?
That is my question as well. Thank you, Janet.
Yeah.
Can I pipe in?
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Manley.
At Ypsilanti Township where I work, we close between 12 and 1 every day. So we shut down for an hour every day. Public has no issue with it.
Mhm.
So that's a full hour.
Right.
I think Pittsfield might also.
It will affect,
And, sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
And also, I mean, when I did work there back in like 12 and 13, I was only part-time and we never got a lunch break. So I know exactly what they're talking about and they deserve it. And I totally support it.
Well, everybody gets a lunch break. My concern, I mean, did they all go out to lunch together? Is that why they want to do it all at one time?
No, because if somebody goes late, then it backs up everybody else when you have that short of a staff.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are in there during the day that want to go to, that get lunch? Like, I'm trying to figure out why they would be backed up if one person goes to lunch, one at a time.
Well, a lot of the problem is there's not duplication. I mean, so if somebody comes in for Mary Bird,
right?
You know, nobody else can do it. You know, a lot of times it's only one person can do it, and you know, then they don't get their lunch. So if people don't expect to have to come in between 1 and 1:30, that's great. It will affect one person a day, maybe. So anyway, Miss Otto, sorry.
No, I'm fine. I'm concerned, this is my concern, that we're having them have their lunch hour or the lunch half hour at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It means that they're in the office 8 o'clock, 8:30, and they're doing almost 4.5, 5 hours before you have lunch. And then they're off by 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we just don't close it down between 12 and 1, even though they take half hours. Not everybody's going to be, not everybody can finish exactly at 1 o'clock on something.
Yeah.
So at least this gives them a window to take a break anytime within a half hour to have their lunch, or to catch up on something, or to prepare for their afternoon without having disruptions.
Mm-hmm.
You're suggesting an hour?
Yeah.
I'm suggesting an hour, even though they take a half an hour break, just 12 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I would support that.
Yep. Mr. Fink, you've popped on. Do you have some comments?
I do not. I lost power on my iPad and hit it, so
are these unpaid lunches, or are they getting paid for lunch?
No.
They're unpaid lunches.
Yeah.
Okay. So do they want an hour? I'm not against this. I'm just trying to figure it out.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm recommending is that we close for an hour. They still get a 30-minute lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Got it.
Ms. Bellinger?
I'm very concerned with keeping, for the public, keeping it good for the township residents. If they need to come in, they take their lunch break and they come in into the office to get some business done. And if somebody's there and enable them to take care of the business, we always been talking about how can we better assist the residents in their use of the township and the township services. So I would like to see perhaps that they continue with the staggered lunches so that the office can remain open. Just maybe be more disciplined with regards to these staggered lunches so that people don't get left behind with like a 3 o'clock lunch or something because things are so out of whack. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see them, I don't want you to close down the office basically.
Well, I saw Kathy. I've got Wayne over here with his hand up. I better call on him. Mr. Dockett?
Yes. 1/2 hour times 5 days is 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours times 4 weeks is 10 hours. 10 hours times 12 months is 120 hours. 120 hours is 15 days that they're going to be closing. The management can't figure out how to wait on 1.1 persons from the the people and the taxpayers of Northfield Township deserve much better, in my opinion. I was at the township at 8 a.m. Monday morning, this past Monday morning. 2 cars in the parking lot. I seen 1 employee in the office at 8 o'clock when I went in. I don't know how many was there, but I know there was 2 cars in the parking lot. I was at the township this morning at 8 o'clock. there were 3 cars in the parking lot. One was a truck working on the manhole. Are these employees still working at home? Or why are they not in the office at 8 o'clock? If they got such a terrible amount of work to do, I think it's just unbelievable what we're going to for another 15 days a year and take that away from the people who pay the bills there. This is ridiculous. With 1.1 people, that's all because they can't wait on 1.1 person. They have to close down for 15 days. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Chick.
So go ahead. If we make lunch between 12 and 1, can you go 2 at 12 to 12:30 and then 2 from 12:30 to 1? That way there's somebody in the office.
Oh, I like that.
The staff actually discussed this, and they came up with this solution, and they only wanted a half an hour.
Right.
And I suggested that they take a, count of how many people actually came in during that period of time so that they would know. They really want to minimize the impact on people who come in to do business with the township. So that's why they picked the 1 to 1:30. Yes, it is kind of late. They do get a 15-minute break, though, in the morning, and they get a 15-minute break in the afternoon, even though their half hour is unpaid.
And that's all required by law.
Exactly. So if they need a snack, they could at least have a snack or something. But, I don't think we crack the whip that hard on them around here. But I think if they had the hour and they worked half of it without interruption, they would actually be more effective.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Well, I don't know.
I know for doctors' offices, they're down for 2 hours every.
Now, see, my office, we took an hour lunch, but there was always somebody in the office to take phone calls or in case somebody stopped by.
Okay. Ms. Zelnok.
I think we need to service our public. I think we need to be open and we need to continue the staggered lunch and people need to be disciplined to take them. I think about someone that drives up, maybe not have internet, come to pay their water bill, and we just say, sorry, we're closed, 1 to 1:30. And I just think we need to be there for the residents. And if that means whoever has, the staggered lunch and they actually have to leave the office so they don't get interrupted, I'm fine with that. And then people take care of what they can. I understand what the employees are asking, and I am concerned about not providing that service to our residents, which I think is our primary, and we are a service organization, and that needs to take priority, in my opinion.
Okay. Mr. Ains, do you have any input since you're an employee and you manage employees?
Well, I hadn't seen this very often before, but I've noticed recently, like at Walgreens Pharmacy near me, that they have posted on the pharmacy drive-through that there's an hour period of time that they're closed. So if you came to the pharmacy expecting to get a prescription filled, you would be surprised, I guess, to find that they were closing during that time. So I don't know how common this is.
Yes, CVS does the same thing.
Currently, Mary traditionally takes from 2 o'clock to 2:30 because it's very difficult for her to get away earlier. But then if she's thrown late, then that means she's more like 3 o'clock or something, or doesn't get one. This was brought to my attention by the employees. They did take the time to look at the hours and so forth. There was some mention that maybe we could start advertising that it was going to be closed, but for the time being, have somebody still there in case somebody doesn't get the message. So that's a possibility. Also, like today, 4:30 passed and everybody left. And as I went out the door for just a break before this meeting, somebody pulls in the driveway and they came back out. And they still had in their hand what they were going to take in. And I just pointed out to her that there is a drop box, so you don't need to come back. You can just put it in the drop box, and that's what she did. So sometimes it's the education that there is something available, even when the office itself is closed. But and as far as me personally, I'm on duty all the time, so I eat at my desk and whatever. So it doesn't directly affect me.
Well, okay. So Ms. Zelnok has an employee. I don't know if she knows what her employee thinks. And Ms. Manley has an employee.
I know
Two
what my employee
employees.
thinks.
Pardon?
To her. I said, of course I know what Miss Hopsis thinks. Of course
Is she in favor of it or no?
Of course she is.
Oh, okay. I assume they all are in favor of it, but
I mean, I've talked to her extensively about it.
okay.
I don't think it's that difficult to have one person in the office for half an hour.
Even if they can't do anything? I mean, I guess
You can answer a phone.
they could answer a phone, yeah. But
You
I think
have voicemail.
yeah.
my real thought is it's probably the most issue is probably with Ms. Bird, because she doesn't really have a lot of backup, especially in zoning and planning. I know Ms. Hofstas can help her on some of the building or take some of that, and we do have our new front desk person, Kathleen, but I'm sorry, I don't recall her last name. That will help. I think that might be one of the concerns is the building and zoning, because we don't have a lot of backup. And I can speak with the Treasury Department that sometimes we run into issues where Emily is the only one, or Ms. Hofstas is the only one that knows how to do it. And if she happens to be out, even going picking up the mail, they had an issue that they were having trouble running the credit card through. Well, mail does have to get picked up and things like that, so they'll have to wait till she returns. I mean, things like that happen. So I think, as we continue to, learn and cross-train, that will certainly help some of the issues that we may, for people taking their time. But I think it also falls on the people to make sure they take their time, and they have to be adamant about it. So it's just my observation being in the office and talking to individuals in the office.
Okay. Well, I think it's an employee morale issue, and I'm going to vote for the 1 to 1:30 that they have decided they wanted to do. So we have a motion with the support, and we might as well, unless somebody else has anything they're dying to share, we might as well vote and move on.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Zelenak?
No.
Chick?
Yes.
Bellinger?
No.
Otto?
Yes.
Dockett?
No.
Shockley?
Yes.
Manley? Yes.
So could I just add, if we get complaints from the public, that we change it?
I'm sure it can be revisited.
I think we can revisit it.
I support that idea.
Yeah.
I think we need to set a time frame of when we're going to do it and how we're going to notify the public. Like, don't start tomorrow. Like, give like a 30-day notice or.
What was the vote?
4-3.
Depending on how long we want to wait, obviously we send out our tax bills, but that's not until December 1st. And we could certainly put it in there. So it depends. But Ms. Manley brings up a very excellent point. What's the communication process?
I say 30 days. We
Yep,
put it on
I
the
would say-
website, we put it on Facebook, we post it on the doors. That should be good.
Yeah.
You can even put it in on the IVR.
On the what?
on the IVR,
The
when you
voicemail.
call in, the voicemail.
Oh, okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that passes.
We need another motion that says it'll start within 30
All right.
days, so whatever date that is.
October 1st, whatever that Monday is.
Okay,
Yep.
sure.
Let me look at a calendar.
October 5th would be the first Monday in October.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion to
Okay.
start effective October 5th with communications out to the public within the next 30 days.
Okay,
I'll support.
okay, motion by Otto, support by Manley. Any more discussion? No. Okay.
Docket probably wants to know that what exactly we're voting on.
Okay. Mr. Dockett, we are voting on a motion made by Ms. Otto and supported by Ms. Manley to start the office being closed from 1 to 1:30 for lunch on October 5th.
And notifying the public too.
And notifying the public, yeah. Maybe we can put them on sewer bills too, you know. Okay. Roll call, please.
Zelenak,
No.
Docket,
No.
Chalkley,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes on the notification.
Chick.
Yes.
Okay, so it was 5-2.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is to receive the building department financial report. And Mr. Ains, here we are. I'm leaving this to you. Go ahead.
Okay. We've talked about the building department throughout the last 3 years I've been here. They're the same options that have been discussed about, but one thing that I found rather interesting was in last year's budget, we actually exceeded the amount budgeted in income from building permits by about $20-some thousand. And that put the net effect much better, much closer. It was still not sufficient to cover the difference. But last year was fairly a mild year. This year we're looking at which started July 1st to next June 30th, with the various investments with the new businesses that we expect will come in through both the marijuana and through the 75 Barker project and perhaps others. And so I think it's reasonable to expect you would get at least that same amount of income if we continued at the current building permit level. If you wanted to cover 100%, which is not always the expectation, some communities feel like they would rather put general fund money in than charge more for building permits. But if you did, you could evaluate it between now and sometime during the coming year, and you could always adjust rates at a later point if you wanted to do so. Mr. Dockett has made it clear over the number of times that he feels if you shift this to the county that you will save more money than you're expending. And while I understand his viewpoint, I've mentioned several times that you lose that income, which is greater than the savings on what you're paying for building inspectors and the building official. So you end up with losing more money going that way, in my opinion. You've talked before about having a full-time building department director doing inspections, doing planning and zoning, and I gave you an illustration a year or so ago about another community. Chelsea was looking for a community development director, and they were looking in the 70,000 range for salary plus benefits and so forth. And then we've talked with McKenna, and others of you have talked with other consulting firms. And the premise there is that they come in and help you get your rates high enough that you can afford to pay for their services, which you can do anyway on your own without having them come in to do that. So what I would suggest is that you stay with the present system, with the upgrades we've talked about, with getting the clarity, the service, so on, that you look at raising rates if needed, but you also evaluate what your income's going to be off of that, the building permits. In addition to that, we have talked before about a number of the expenses dealing with the new businesses coming in are being covered by the fees that they already are required by the township to pay. And that seems to be sufficient for that. And you can only use it for the marijuana businesses. You can't use it for any other purpose. In the same way, you can't use building permit money for anything other than building operations. So that's my thought. I know there's divergent thoughts on the board's case, but however you would like us to proceed, we'll continue to investigate that way.
All right. Ms. Bellinger.
I'd like to make a motion that we raise the building fees, permit fees, by 25% at this point.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bellinger. Do we have a second? No, second. Okay. Well,
I'll second just for discussion.
yeah, okay. I could have too,
Like,
but go ahead.
I guess my question is, where would those numbers put us?
Right, that's my question too.
Yeah.
Where do we need to be? I think that's more of a Steve question. Where should we be? What should we raise them?
Okay.
I think that I don't mind raising them and everything. I think that we need to know what needs to be raised, because we may raise them 25% across the board, and one that gives you a big dollar amount, you might only get once. So it's not going to really do you any good. Say 25% across the board. So I think we need an analysis.
Okay, Ms. Chick?
So the building department actually started looking into this before COVID. We've talked about this before. But 25% is huge, and it kind of, 5% would not be bad, but 25% is huge. And we might be pricing ourselves out of business with people seeking permits, and they have to be kind of comparable, at least to the area around us. And that was the problem in trying to compare our fees with other communities, because they use different terminologies and their permits are involved, or what did I say? They're different as far as what's involved in the permit than what ours are. So it was hard to compare. We just doing a blanket raise of 25% without actually knowing the impact of that on our business applicants, and just for the sake of getting more money is problematic, because the building department is not supposed to be making money. It's supposed to be cost neutral. So we have to be careful that we're not doing that as well.
Well, I'd like to restate. Let me pull that motion back and state a different one. I'd like to move that we have the township manager come back with appropriate fee increases for the various permits that we do offer to help to address this deficit situation that we're operating in for the building department. And to bring this back, I would say 45 days.
Okay.
And I would support that.
Okay, we made almost that exact same motion over a year ago.
Right.
The fee schedule.
Yes.
And we have not
done it.
So
Well, let's make it happen.
and we made deadlines too. So hopefully we can stick to this one. I'll put it on the schedule So we'll try it again. Okay, so.
Support on that?
Yeah, Ms. Otto supported. Okay, so any more discussion? Mr. Dockett, your turn.
Okay, yeah, I don't like to see a big conversation between two people on the board for, talking without calling on some of the other people that's waiting. Okay, now, Chick brought up something that I think that we got to think about. She said 25% is too much. According to for amendment budget with the 2021, the shortfall was 51,000. That's 5,000 a month. That's causing us to have the building department. If you go down to B, increased building permits, the manager's got on there, he put 60% on there, would only bring 49,000. So if 60% will only bring 49,000, and 25% Miss Chick thinks is too much, and you move on down, you go down with where the contract with the county, and you go to the next page, underneath page 2, but there's no pages on it. Item 2, I do not think that the taxpayers of Northfield Township care if the county makes 83,000. If the township saves 50,000, why do we care? If the county makes 83,000, excuse me, we're saving 50 grand instead of costing us 50 grand. It's idiotic economics. It always has been with the building department, and that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Zelnok.
I think we have to, look, is there a cost benefit? So if it costs a little bit more to have it at the township and there's a benefit, meaning you get happier customers, then I think that's what we should do is keep it here. If you look just really at the actuals of what happened last year, and that doesn't certainly show a trend, I think it would be at like a 10% raise or a 10% increase in the fees would cover what we spent versus the revenue we took in. And I think Ms. Otto brings up a very good point, is that we need to make sure, and maybe Ms. Chick as well, that we're raising the correct fees. It may not be a 10% across the board because that may not get us where we need to go. So the analysis does need to be done to say which specific ones we need to raise to cover it. Again, I think having it in-house provides a service and a benefit to the customers of being able to talk to their people close to the proximity. So
I expect that Steve's analysis would offer that information, as you suggested. The 25 across the board might be too high for certain permits.
And it's not just the fees. The fees aren't going to be the cure-all. There's other things going on in the building department that need attention, and some budget changes too that need looked at. So there's more than one thing than just the fees.
Okay. It looks like Mr. Fink has something to share with us. No?
I don't.
You don't? Are you ready? Are you ready to sign off, Mr. Fink?
Aren't we all?
Do we need Mr. Fink for anything else?
It's good to have him here for the meeting.
Well, it is, but
well, we're nearly done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got this motion. Okay.
Can you read the motion again?
Well, that's what the clerk does, right?
Okay, Ms. Selmy, can you read the motion again?
Okay. Ms. Bellinger, you made the motion.
Yeah, the motion was to have the manager come back to the board with recommended fees within a 45-day period, recommended fees for the permits, for the building department permits.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So that was motion by Bellinger, support by Otto. And okay. Roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Dockett,
No.
Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
6-1.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now,
What was the vote? What's the vote?
6-1.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we have announcements, and I'm just going to make a quick one here about, we intend to have a special meeting on September 15th at the request of the Planning Commission. I don't know if Ms. Chick wants to chime in on that one, but I just wanted to make sure the public knew about that. And it's to deal with the marijuana licenses. Go ahead, Ms. Chick.
Yep, the Planning Commission is going to be discussing and hearing conditional uses. We have a special meeting tomorrow night to hear the first three. If the balance of them are ready, the second three, if there's all three of them, will be heard on October 2nd and I'm sorry, September 2nd. I do that all the time. And then the special meeting with the board will be on September 15th. The plan is for the Planning Commission to send all of the candidates or applicants in that make it through the conditional use portion of it to the board at one time, and then the board will decide or award licenses to whoever they determine they would like to have licenses.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other announcements? Ms. Otto.
So I wanted to announce that the play path will have a ribbon cutting. So come out and play on Saturday, August 29th between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. to celebrate the completion of our Play Everywhere Challenge grant project on Barker Road Play Path. Kaboom's Play Everywhere Challenge was created to inspire kids to play every day and to incorporate into their normal routines. So the ribbon cutting will be at 11 a.m. at 75 Barker, and we will be along the play path from 75 Barker to Whitmore Lake Elementary School until noon with juice and cookies for the kiddos. And just make sure that your kids over 4 years of age wear a mask and maintain social distancing whenever possible. I also wanted to give a shout out to Steve Chalkin. A great thank you. There were a number of us, Lenore was there, I was there, Ton was there, putting together musical instruments, benches, chalkboards. Well, we got to the musical instruments and we could not put the butterfly together. And it took us probably 2 hours and we gave up. Finally, with one little announcement out on Facebook, we had probably 5 people step up, and Steve was the first one there, and within an hour we got the wings on, everything worked. So thank you, he was our hero, and we are able to have a wonderful musical instrument for the kids out in front of the elementary school.
Okay.
So again, come out on Saturday, August 29th between 11 and 12.
Great, thank you. Other announcements? Ms. Bellinger.
Yeah, Parks and Rec had a meeting on Thursday, and they came up with a resolution. Parks and Rec Board requests the Northfield Township Board of Trustees to keep not inclusive of the lakefront, at least 12 acres of the total of the North Village site to remain a park for the benefit of the residents of Northfield Township. So that was a wording of a resolution that the Parks and Rec came up with on last meeting last Thursday. The other thing is they would like to know if we could have a replenishment of the balance, the Parks and Rec budget, because the shed was supposed to be coming out of the last year's budget as opposed to this year's budget. And the third thing is the shed. We need to fill out another zoning compliance application due to the location of the shed going to be more forward up instead of back in the corner, a little closer, access closer to the middle of the property. And also I'd like to make mention regarding a recent planning commission meeting, it was brought up that I was not able to attend a meeting earlier this year. So I feel that it's necessary for me to put it on the record the following. That had I been able to attend the February 25th, 2020 Township Board meeting, that I would have voted in favor of moving forward with the, quote, public hearing to consider removal of Sam Iaquinto from the Northfield Township Planning Commission due to alleged malfeasance, end quote. So I was unable to make that meeting, but I want that on the record that had I been present, I would have voted that we move forward with a public hearing. And that's what I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Mr. Dockett. Mr. Dockett, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have an announcement?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How can the planning commission have in front of them the special uses? I remember we voted on that. I voted against the special uses because I asked if they were going to have hash bashes and all that stuff. I voted against it. It did not pass. It didn't fail either. It was 3-3. So it didn't pass. So how can somebody explain to me how the planning commission can have this in front of them again when we voted, when we didn't vote for that?
Okay. Looks like Ms. Chick has an answer.
Yep, that is not what the meeting's for. We are not working on the special uses that the that the board, actually the motion failed to have the board or planning commission consider those uses. So that is not what the meeting is for. The meeting is for the conditional uses for the applicants who are wanting to open a business in the township.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said that it was for the special uses. So,
No.
So I kind of, okay, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have more. Chick said in an email that she would rethink about not selling Horseshoe Lake lots to people who want to buy them. I would like to see that get back on the agenda if that's possible, because I believe them people should be able to buy these lots that are next to them. And I just would like to see it back on there. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but, and then I would like to make an announcement. I do not like to give up on a commitment, but I will not attend. I will attend 2 meetings in September, the 2 regular meetings. I will do the 2 regulars in October. I will not attend any of these special meetings. They're too much problem for me. And I made plans for November vacation in Florida, so I intend to do 4 more meetings. I don't intend to do any special meetings. I can't. Just like today, I didn't have on my agenda the numbers to call in. It's just too difficult. So I'm afraid you guys are all tougher than I am, but I've had it with these special meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, another announcement, Ms. Bellinger?
Yeah, I want to make a clarification. I believe the last planning commission meeting didn't deny the hearing regarding events. They tabled it for 180 days, if I recall. Is that correct?
I don't know, Ms. Chick.
Yes, they did.
Okay. So I guess they're not doing anything with it right now.
No.
Okay. Okay. Next is the second call to the public. If we're done with all announcements. Okay. Second call to the public. If anyone would like to speak to the board at this time, please raise your hand or press *9 if you're on a phone, and I'll acknowledge you, and you state your name, your address, and you have up to 3 minutes to share with the board whatever you'd like. It's not a time for discussion or Q&A. Thank you. Anybody want to speak at this point? Wow, we bored him to death. Okay, I see no hands. Okay, nobody. Okay, then we don't have board member comments, I guess. Oh, yes, we do. Ms. Zelnok, board member comments.
I do have, so first of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the public hearing that occurred at the Planning Commission on these special events. I think this may address Ms. Bellinger, Mr. Dockett's thing. So what I learned, I was surprised to see that it was there, considering the vote of the board in the prior meeting. What I learned in talking to Mr. Lippens, so Ms. Bellinger, if you see a charge with me talking to Mr. Lippens, this will be what it's for, because I said, I need some education. How did this happen? So any person can ask for a text amendment to an existing zoning ordinance.
Right.
Anybody. Doesn't matter what zoning ordinance is and who that person is. They can ask for a public hearing before the Planning Commission on any text amendment to any of our zoning ordinances. And that's what that individual had done. And that's why there was a public hearing, regardless if what the board has decided or not. That is how that got out there. And I think the public needs to know that. I certainly learned that fact, and I have an opportunity to share it with others.
Thank you for sharing that, Lenore.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and then the play pass, I would just like to say thank you to everyone, all the volunteers, and a special thanks to Ms. Carlisle for leading this effort. You received a lot of compliments, and it looks really fantastic. So thank you to everyone. And yes, thank you, Steve, taking at the end to finish that last little bit. That was really nice. Taxes are due September 14th. And just want everybody to know that the special meeting on September 15th that's planned for this board is also meet the candidates night for the election coming up.
Oh, is it?
I think she might be changing that because I sent her an email and let her know that that's a special meeting.
Okay.
And she was unaware before she scheduled that. So it's going to be a problem because I can't be there, Jackie can't be there, Lenore can't be there. Well, it's for trustees on the 15th.
Right. So it's going to be, but I just thought I'd bring that up that right now there is a conflict. So
Okay.
that does it. But yep. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other board member comments?
Yep, I simply want to say I wish everybody a blessed remainder of the week. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Chick?
Yep, I just wanted to thank Lenore for bringing that up about the amendments. I don't think enough people understand that. That's actually the Biltmore issue. When that came on, people said, well, why didn't you just tell them no? It's because they asked for an amendment. They didn't ask for, to come in and put a development in. They asked for an amendment, and it absolutely has to be processed. You cannot just say no.
And my assumption is they pay for that meeting, don't they?
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for the meeting, and see you in a couple weeks. All right. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Good night.
So.
Good night.